and it doesn't, so I have no idea. Sometimes I just join in mid-sentence, but that's okay. Hey, folks, if you're watching me live, then, well, say hi. This is Avi from Seattle, and I got some of our Learn Power BI friends on the call. I'm going to say hello to you in a bit. But yeah, from YouTube, just let us know who's on, where are you calling in from. We love hearing that. And I'm going to say hi to my friends here. All of our Learn Power BI members get a special invite to join us on the call. So I have Bhavesh, Bob, Dan, Diego, Jason, Noel, and, well, there are two Bobs. That's a co. All right, so welcome to all. And let's see how it is going on the chat window. All right, so we have hi from Netherlands. Jihwan Kim. Jeff Anderson says hey. Ammar says hello from Syria. Jeff says hello from Houston, Texas. Abdul Rahman is here. Hello, my friend. William says hi from Miami. John says hi from Milwaukee. Alexley says hello from Kiev, Ukraine. Shabana. Hey, folks, if you're on the... Oh, okay, cool. I think that went away. There was some echo back to me. I see Shabana. I see Nunya. I see Huang from Taiwan. Hello, my friend Slam. All right, awesome. So, hey, today we're here for, well, one more Talk Power BI episode, and this one is our monthly series that we run, Talk Power BI Q&A. And you can just go to our website. You can just go to talkpowerbi.com. That's an easy way to get it. Or if you go on our website, you're going to find it under free resources, Talk Power BI. So just to talk about this one. So for this one is just Q&A. So this is you run the session. Now to have it more structured and just so folks can know what to expect, we do this process where you can pre-submit questions. And yeah, so again, if you go to talkpowerbi.com, you can find all the information. You have the buttons to pre-submit questions. There's a unique one for students, which is awesome. Well, we do love our students a little bit more. I think I'm allowed to do that. So they do get kind of first dibs. And that one, any question you submit is going to end up on the question board, which you can click to access as well. So even if you're not submitted questions, you can still kind of come in and see and look and say, oh, okay, well, I guess this is what's going to be discussed, right? So yeah, that's our Q&A. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah. So folks, we're planning a change in this Q&A session. Now, it has been hopefully helpful. We have stayed for hours on end. So I'll say two things. I forgot to add the first one here. Is that don't join it, even if you have submitted a question. I'll say don't join thinking that, oh, when is my question going to be answered? When is my question going to be answered? Guys, this is not that kind of show, all right? So if you really want your question answered in a private setting, in a private call and immediately or nearly immediately, then, you can contact us for paid consulting, right? Really, that's the way to go. This one, I would like you to join this thinking that you can learn something from everyone and every question. And that's the way I try to approach a lot of situations. Like everything has something to teach you, including the current craziness going on in the world, right? So yeah, just come here and just hang out and see what you can learn from every question, right? I mean, so even if you think you know the answer, maybe it's going to be the way I explain it, or just by hearing those questions again and again. I mean, you can kind of form an understanding of, oh, these are the things that people struggle with. And if you are what I call the Power BI pioneer, and I love supporting that role, that kind of information can be really helpful because you're not just looking at yourself, you're looking to lead your organization into this new age of Power BI. So yeah, you're gonna take your flock with you, right, my friends? So by the way, just a quick note: Power BI Pioneer has nothing to do with title. I have seen pioneers who were CEOs and CFOs, and I've seen pioneers who were working the call center, but still the end result was the same. They led the organization in this new wave of BI. All right, so I think in the last episodes I was feeling kind of rushed, like, oh, let me get to Q&A, but I'm just gonna relax a little bit too. Hopefully that's gonna let you relax a little too. All right, cool. So we have a lot more folks saying hello. Okay, so let's run through a few other things, and then we're going to start with the questions. So folks, if you just go to learnpowerbi.com, we have something really exciting coming up. We have the real Power BI project presentations coming up. And if you have been around on our channel, then you know what real Power BI is about. It's about bringing real businesses with real projects and connecting them with our amazing Pro Plus community. So these are the group of members. You can see them on our About Plus about Plus page, About Us page, and they are on the journey to either become a Power BI consultant or grow their Power BI consulting business, right? So that's the journey they're on, and we match them up, and magic happens. Well, so. But one thing that we pride in this is that if you've seen the past presentation, there's a lot to learn. For one, I always encourage my students to give the raw, unfiltered account of everything, right, of their experience, as opposed to, you know, the conference version that you often see. So when I remember when I would go to conferences and watch these Power BI presentations, man, everything was buttoned down, everything looked beautiful, and it seemed like easy. Yeah, we did this, and like, oh my God, they're so amazing. I'm so horrible. I can't even do that, right? I mean, it always left me feeling a little bit wounded, which is not right, because what often happens at these conferences is that they don't tell you the whole story. They don't tell you kind of the ugly parts, and they're in every story, and I think that's what makes a story beautiful. So I do encourage our participants or Pro Plus members to kind of share the whole story. So that's the kind of the first thing that's coming up on March 24th, which is next week, and in April 1st. And 8 contestants, 8 Power BI projects, $1,000 in cash prize, and guess what? You get to vote for the winners. So we're excited about that. And yeah, so that's what's coming on next. Another thing which you can find, which is finally easy to find now, is that I got tired of feeling helpless and frustrated about not being able to do anything about the current crisis. I felt like I'm not a doctor or a nurse, but then I realized that I can help in a huge way by focusing on my zone of genius. So that's what I'm doing. Simple, you know, just click here, free Power BI help for businesses impacted by COVID-19 crisis. And not just me, we have now a team of some amazing people who have joined hands with me, and we're frankly looking to grow this. So yeah, so if you are feel free to reach out if your business has been impacted, and read the page. Has more information if you feel like, yep, we can help you in some way, and we feel we can help businesses in a big way. And our goal is not small. Our goal is, not only to help you survive, but we want to see you thrive once the economy emerges from this crisis, right? I mean, so the visual that I have in my head is, how in horse racing at the horse track, they have the horse at the gate, and the gate opens, boom, they explode out of that. That's what we want for you. I don't know, right? So hey, a man can dream big, right? So so I'm here. The other Power BI professionals are here who have committed to this. We're here to help. So just reach out to us, and we'll go from there. So that's that. That's about it. All right, so that's it for the announcement. Let's go into our Talk Power BI, and let's see. Oh boy. Okay, so guys, it's one more announcement, and you're gonna like this one because this is specific to Talk Power BI. I clearly realized that, for one, I'm not able to answer all questions. Like if you look at the past board, there were quite a few that were done, but actually let's get a count on this. But there were quite a few questions which were not answered. And you can see, so March 20th, wow, man, that makes me look bad. So 6 answered and 25 not answered, and there were 2 issues. One, well, the time is limited, and I wish I could stay forever, but even after staying for many hours, I just can't get to all questions. And another challenge is that, well, for me to answer your question, I think it's best if you are there. So I ask that you be present to this call. And sometimes that's not always possible. Somebody had reached out to me and they're like, Avi, man, I'm in Sydney, Australia, and this call starts at 2 a.m. And I actually, people do join from Australia. If there are any Australians, hey, give me a shout out in the comment box. Let us know. Like, yeah, I set the alarm early or something, right? But yeah, sometimes you can't be there. So I have this idea. I've never actually shared that with anybody, well, except Marianne. She knows everything that's going on in the business. But the idea is this, folks. The idea is that the ones that are covered, great, right? I mean, you would get an answer there. But the ones that are not covered, I will recruit or try to recruit. Again, I've not shared that with anybody. So even the Pro Plus members don't know it. But, Pro Plus, that's an awesome group of folks. And often they're just looking to help as well, people with Power BI, right? So genuinely interested in Power BI and, right? So I'll check with them. And if they're up to it, then we might have a system where they will reach out to some of you. Again, folks, we're not going to be able to get to everybody. And again, if you really, really want to, no, I mean, this is important for me, mate, then, we request that you just go to contact me and request paid Power BI consulting, right? I mean, that way you're going to be on a private call. You don't have to worry about, who sees my data and all of that sort of stuff. And of course, you would get pretty immediate attention. We would connect you with somebody really qualified right away, right? So anyway, that's the plan. Okay. I was like, Javi, are you done with announcements yet? All right. What? No, nobody from Australia? Come on, guys. All right. Anyway, just kidding. We do have Greg from Chilliwack, British Columbia. I think that makes up for the Australians. Yeah. No, just kidding. Greg is awesome, though. Awesome. So let's come in here. And we have quite a few questions today. So let me see how I can narrow it down. Oh, that's interesting. And search cards. And can I do more labels? And can I say learn Power BI student? Oh, how do I search? I thought I had figured out. Let's try this. Oh, there we go. Wow. I'm not sure what happened. So 44. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure I have it right. So there are maybe my saying 44 cards, but what happens if I say only learn Power BI student submissions? Blah. Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't. I was actually trying to use Power BI to pull this data in Excel, and I'm so close. That would have been awesome. So let's do this. So I don't know, there are not that many. So are there any students who submitted a question and are on the call? And just put it in the chat window. And folks, often I'm not able to see the chat window on here because I'm tuned into the YouTube chat. But again, if you're a student and if you submitted a question, you get to go.
Hi, Avi.
Diego. Okay, cool.
Hey, yeah.
You have a question, right? Awesome. And I
have
see.
a question.
And I see Jason. Jason is on. So cool. So guys, give me a second. Let's see. And man, I was folks, I was trying really hard, trust me, but I feel like, man, if I had 10 more minutes, I would have this a little more lined up. But we'll still make a good show out of this, eh? All right, so I have my Talk Power BI, and I'm going to line up my notes. Okay, so I see, I think I saw Jason first, then Diego, then Bob. We may go with that order. So April 17th Q&A. Oh, what is that? Okay, got it. And then we have, so I heard Jason, Diego, and Bob. Okay, cool. Let's go in here. Let's see. Got it. Jason, perfect. Merging or combining data. So Jason, can you unmute yourself on the phone? Let's see.
Okay, I should be unmuted now.
Nice. Oh, yay. Awesome. Jason, let's see. What? Nope. Something going on here. I was trying to find a question here. Merging or combining data. I see it here. Oh, there we go. Okay, got it. All right, so, and we're gonna find why isn't the search working? Oh, Diego, play button. And then we had Bob. I saw the questions right up top. Bob, and Bob did say ignore the earlier ones. I'm gonna pick the top two. Okay, so folks, we have kind of the lineup. And all right, so we have Jason's question lined up, and Diego's question, and Bob's questions, the top ones. And let's start, Jason, with yours. So I'm just gonna read it. I might read it out aloud. Hopefully that doesn't annoy anybody. Merging or combining data. Okay, I'm like feeling good so far. I have two query sources with the same data field. One of the data sets comes from a database that is much more detailed but has missing data in particular field. It's only updated monthly. I would like to replace or combine this field with data from another query that has the data field updated weekly but doesn't go back as far in time, isn't as large a data set. Got it. Man, this is really good. Yeah, you wouldn't happen to have any random data, which kind of a sample file.
I don't know. I don't have anything queued up, Avi.
Okay, no worries. So let's see if we can cook up something really quick. Oh, I was supposed to timestamp it. Man, I better do that. Okay, wait, what happened? Okay, Marianne, if you're watching the replay, sorry, I was supposed to start this clock earlier. or sometimes actually she joins live too. Okay, so we got it, and let's see. I'm gonna paste this one. Okay, so let's have the query one from the database is job number super. Wow, such a long word. and then in the dataset 2 is the same but more up to date. Yep. So this is great. So so let's say this has more data, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what we're gonna do is random name. Oh, cool. And then you have, and so some of them are missing, or do you have updates in the query too as well? Can be both.
Yeah, it could be both.
Okay, got it. So let's do this. So here we'll say number 3 is we fill that in, and for number 5 we update that. Right? I mean, so
Yeah.
how? Yeah, right. So yeah, simple stuff. Okay, cool. So let me launch PowerBI Desktop, which I should have done already. So folks, while PowerBI Desktop is launching, I'll generalize this problem because if you think about it, I think every Power BI professional probably faces this. And I have faced this in a slightly different setting, but it's kind of similar. So again, I want you to hear that out and see. I would think that you would find that, oh yeah, I've run into that. So what I ran into was that we had a list of, in Microsoft Accounting, they would have this cost center hierarchy. The cost center skews, whatever you call it, that was like the smallest unit at which the cost was tracked, but then it rolled up into this pretty massive hierarchy, and I don't remember the levels now, but it was like cost center group, department, organization, team. Right? It just rolled up all the way to where the top level was Microsoft. Right? I mean, that was Satya, the CEO, and it was a massive list. It was, I don't know. I mean, I think we had access to 10,000 SKUs plus. and we were just a small unit within Microsoft. In total, I don't know, maybe Microsoft has hundreds of thousands, maybe even close to 1 million SKUs. I have no idea. But imagine a massive list. But you know how it happens where the central system isn't always fast to update. So if things would get reorganized and so forth, then it wouldn't reflect reality. So of course, me working in a team of a small team of 300 people, we were Microsoft Learning. My manager would say, Avi, don't show me this stuff, man. That reorg happened a month ago. But sometimes some of these changes, hierarchy changes, could only be taken into effect sometimes quarterly, sometimes even annually. You couldn't mess with it in between because it will mess up the stock reporting or whatever, right? So my VP, right, our leader of our organization, didn't want to see the BS corporate structure which didn't apply because they had reorg, and of course the system contained that. So I wanted to override a little bit of that, but not all of it, right? So one approach is that take a copy of the massive list of 10,000 SKUs of cost center and just make your own copy and update it. But that is horrendous because then you have to maintain it throughout. What if the core system does update? What if the core system adds a cost center and so forth? So I call this approach manage by exception.
Yes, dear.
So so manage by exception.
Yes, I just changed it.
Hey folks, so if you're not speaking to us, just go on mute. Okay, cool. So manage by exception. Again, so the idea is that if you have a massive list of 10,000, 100,000, million things, and you only want to change 2 or 5 or 10 or 100, then don't make a copy of the whole list and then try to maintain it. That's not a good approach. All you do is say, hey, here are the 5 exceptions. Use the master data set. Overlay these exceptions on top. Okay, so let's go in here, and let's do let's do enter data, and I'm gonna copy this guy in. So this we'll call the master table. And let's go into the query editor. You know, I think Microsoft has been trying to like sync up Excel and Power BI, but for now, I feel slightly confused. I'm like, what do I call it? I call it the query editor, Power Query, or transform data in the UI. And Power BI is built into Excel as well. So if you look at Excel and Power BI, all 3 names show up. Power Query shows up, transform data, and query editor. Anyway, hey, arose by any other name, my friends, right? So I don't really care. I don't know why I was chiming up about this. I don't really care. I love this tool. Okay, so let's come in here and enter data, and now we're gonna layer over. This is our exceptions table, so you can manage by exceptions. Okay, cool. And this will call. So we're gonna say, yep, these are the only ones that I'll override, and everything that's in the master system is good. And we're gonna test that later. And the key test for your setup is that if something gets added in the master or updated in the master, which is not one of your exceptions, it should automatically flow through, right? We only care about our exceptions. We don't care about anything else. So we start with the master. We have an exception. And I'm just going to disable load for these guys because these are what I call stepping stone tables or Lego block tables. I use the same approach for measures if you heard me talk about it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge the master with exception as a new query. So I'm going to go in here and say merge queries as new. So merge queries as new. And by the way, I mean, folks who are in query editor, you can probably see exactly where I'm going there. All right, so job number, perfect. And that gives me, and let's call it the final table. Obviously, you don't want to, you want to give it a good name for your system. And here, I'm going to expand. I actually only need the superintendent name. And I get that, and then I'll add a calculated column. say, and you'll say if the exception is nothing, then just go with the original. But if you do have an exception, then use that, right? So if there's no exception, then just go with the original. Otherwise, use the exception, right? So if the exception is there, we can use that. So, and again, we can just test it. By the way, query editor, I call it the kitchen of Power BI, and you can see why. It's got all the utensils, the tools and the widgets and whatever to clean, shape, and transform data and do it step by step. Sometimes some people, I don't know, they love DAX. I love DAX, mate, but I don't love DAX for cleaning, shaping, and transforming data because I see them doing this kind of stuff in DAX, and man, DAX is it's you can't see step by step, and that means it's harder for me to understand, harder for me to make sure that things are working right, harder for me to debug if they go wrong. And Power Query is amazing. And of course, the biggest thing that the Power Query Editor Transform Data has is being the kitchen of Power BI is the trash can. And you can't do this in Excel. In Excel, if you had something, a formula which depended on this and this, you could not delete it, but in Query Editor you can. So which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, yep, I'm done with these. I don't need either of these columns because I have the final one. So this is going to be a final table. So Jason, what do you think about this approach? Do you think this would work for you?
Yeah. I mean, just knowing that you need to be in the query editor and creating that and shaping it there is extremely helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Sure. All right. Glad that helped. So again, folks, when it's so again, I mean, this might come over time. Like sometimes I can look at a problem and like, that's a clean shape transform. That's a kitchen problem. I want to solve that in the kitchen. I know it right away. So the rule of thumb is if it feels like a clean shape transform, that's a kitchen. You got to be in query editor. If it feels like math, it's a mathy problem. If it's you're calculating and things like that, then you generally want to go with DAX. So I would say start there, but the ninja level, kind of the next level of that is when it's not clear. You can solve it in both. And it's not clear like, oh yeah, that's clearly a clean shape. I'm like, well, I mean, I could see it that way, I could see it this way. And then of course the key is to understand that there's no right or wrong, essentially. The only guidelines, but be able to evaluate those two conditions, understand the pros and cons, and then pick one. Right? So, all right, cool. So let's see, we're gonna close and apply and save this file. Okay, so let's do a quick maybe question from YouTube because I don't want to ignore you guys. So we do have some folks who submitted questions. Cool, folks. So I'm gonna get to you in a second. Yeah, Hassan. Okay, cool. So Hassan, I got you, mate. I got you. Sorry, I didn't. So I know some of our students are not able to join on the Zoom call. I know last time somebody was saying because of bandwidth issues. That's okay. Cool. So just call it out. And Hassan has a question about matrix, so I'll look at that. And other folks. So Karthik is saying, Avi, quick question in business domain. Could you please provide me a list of the science, pharmaceutical? Oh. Dude, I don't think I can help you with that. A list of life science companies using Power BI for their business. I wish I had the list. I do not. I think if somebody had the list, I would think they would have the list because they are serving that audience, and I think they would keep it pretty close to their chest. So I don't think anybody would be willing to kind of share it with you. What I can recommend is that if you're a consultant and so forth, there are lots of services you can go for. Zoom Info is one, where you pay them a fee and then you can do a very detailed search. Actually, I'm not sure if you would be able to do if they're using Power BI, but you can say, show me the healthcare companies and so forth. Now, if you are a Power BI consultant, of course, we have the whole group of folks working through here, and we often have this discussion, and sometimes I feel like your ideal client are the companies which are not using Power BI. Because if you walk into a company which is not using Power BI, frankly, it's such an easy thing. You show them a little bit, they go, whoa, what is that, right? As opposed to a company which is using Power BI, well, it depends how long they've been using it. And if they're using it the right way, you can't mess up with Power BI. Just Power BI is not a magic wand. So I've walked into a lot of companies which are using Power BI, in quotes, but it's still a mess, right? I mean, it's a hot mess. But if they know what they're doing, then their needs change, and they're looking for something different. So I believe that right now the big opportunity is really companies, and lots of them. So again, I mean, sometimes if you live inside the Power BI bubble, it feels like everybody using Power BI, which is so far from the truth. Most companies are stuck in the rock ages as far as data is concerned. Trust me. And these could be some of the very big companies. And so that's hopefully that gives you some guidance. Okay, so let's come back here, folks. So Jason, we got that. Oh God, what am I doing? Sorry, folks, put my notes in the wrong place. Okay, Diego, hope you're still on. Let's see if we can find your question.
Yeah, Avi, here I am.
Awesome. Oh, actually, ignore that. I already lined them up. Oh, and I need a list. I need a new list. So this is April 17 done. Yay! We're gonna move this here. So I knock one down, guys. All right. And Diego is here. Okay, so let me see what this is. Play button showing cumulative path. Ooh. Oh, old nemesis. I feel like we were playing with this. I want to add a play button to my report, but when I press play, the play access chart slices the information in my report, so I'm just able to see the information for that day. I think I think you nailed it, because it's showing by day, but what you need is kind of cumulative, right? So I feel like you're this close to the
Yeah,
to
I'm
getting
trying
it.
to do it in the line chart with a line chart, and I'm using the custom visual play axis. I mean, we can take another approach if you need to, if it's going to make it work.
No, okay, I was supposed to do this. Let's do. Actually, I just have not seen play axis with a line chart. I've usually seen it with like the bubble chart, the scatter chart.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, but I don't think it's going to work because when there's no play axis, how am I going to see the path? You know?
Oh, you can click on a bubble, and it traces the path for you. At least it's supposed to. Let's just get in
Okay.
there. I think the first thing that we need to solve is definitely uh, the play axis not really kind of working, right? I mean, it's showing you um, just for the day. Oh, guys, this is gonna be fun, guys. I think you're gonna enjoy this ride. Manuel, oh, hey man, I've been meaning to call you. Sorry, my bad. You've been on my mind. Just want to check in. Manuel Fuentes, by the way, Talk Barbie Hall of Fame. He has appeared here, and by the way, folks, you can catch all the replays. I often get asked questions, oh, is this going to be in replay? It's like, yep, all of this, every session is going to be in replay. And one of those is one run by Manuel Fuentes from Label Master. And he talked about how they're using Power BI for their sales team. And man, every time I talk to them, like in gap of, like, I don't know, a few months, they're on to the next level. So I'm sure, Manuel, you moved on to some cool stuff here. So yeah, if you search for Label Master Manual, I don't know, Manual, let's try that. Radioactive growth. Yeah, label master makes signs. Like, no, I know maybe they do make radioactive stuff too. All right, cool. They make signage, like the trucks carrying like hazardous liquids and stuff, and they're supposed to have proper signage. It's a whole industry. I mean, you never think about it, but once you think about it, like, oh, I guess yeah, somebody has to do that, So that's what these guys do. Awesome. Oh God, what's the? Oh man, I think I opened it in the wrong one. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm gonna have to reopen the file in this one over here and figure out something to say to pass the time. Maybe I'll look at the comments. The dark ages. Yeah. All right, nice. Mano like that. Jen is saying open. Oh, I'm supposed to click browse. It's weird. Top PowerBI 2020. Haha. Arabinda, it seems, is using PowerBI for his master's project. That's great. Okay, we'll see if we can try to help you. Oh, well, while that's coming up, one of the greatest data talks ever, Hans Rosling, and he uses the play axis in his graph, which is, you can see, and man, beautiful. But if you've been with me on the dashboard makeover episode, I always say that, man, yeah, there's a piece of storytelling and then there is operational reporting. So yeah, if you're doing operational reports, the play axis may be too much. Just make sure what you're doing. Okay, so is it the second tab? Nope, it's definitely on the second tab. So, Diego, walk me through, or you know what? Let's just. I'm just gonna duplicate this one.
Okay.
And
yeah, you can see the play axis, but it's a custom visual, the one that it's in the there in the corner.
Wait, this is not. Oh, okay, got it. Oh, that's a custom visual.
Yeah, it's custom visual. So you hit play, it starts giving you the correct numbers per count.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So
but I'm just seeing the numbers, like
yeah.
I cannot see.
Got it. Okay, so let's do this thing. Let's delete this guy, and change this to a scatter chart, and I think we need well, you know what? Let's just start with the table. Oh, so much better. Okay, so we're gonna have country, and then the days is that. Okay, and cases cumulative. So if we sort by country, that is working. Got it. So if we do scatter chart,
maybe the cases could be
more time.
Will be in the y-axis, isn't it?
cases is actually the value. I think that's going to be in detail.
Oh, sorry.
Country, I'm not really sure. Oh God, I guess not. How do you show? Is the size? Oh, okay.
I don't think the cases goes in the notes.
Oh, man, there's something about this data set. Since it's slightly different than what I worked with, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. Let
And it's in
me.
Spanish.
Yeah, but so in a standard case, what I would have is on y-axis, I would have like um, number of cases, right? So the higher you go, and x should be time. Well, should it? Man, I'm trying to remember how I did it. It's definitely a scatter chart. What would x-axis be? Maybe it is
I
time.
don't think you're nailing it, Avi, like with that technique.
Number of. So can we do cases in y-axis? Okay. At least we got progress. All right, and x-axis is days, but can we do country? Where was that? País? Where does that come from?
That comes from.
Oh, I can actually just check here.
Yeah, it's country name, but I changed the name.
Yeah. País, that is. Oh, okay, got it. Oh man, that thing. Yeah, so I got it. So that one is really.
Yeah, sorry for that.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, bingo. Okay, so if we come in here and we can't do this, but can we do legend? Okay. And yes, this the premiere. Play access this way. Play axis display x and y, and then you can keep play axis and set summarization for x and y axis. Oh, okay. You know what? Let me. I'm not sure if I'll be able to solve it here. If I'm not, then I'll show you in the AdventureWorks, and I think you will be able to solve it once you kind of see me do it. I'm pretty confident. Okay, so let's come back here. While that one is opening. So this guy, Dias Deste, is that? Oh, that's a column. Oh, that's a column. I think there's something off there. Okay, so yeah, I'll fall back to AdventureWorks, but I think once you see that, you would be able to kind of figure it out. While that's coming up, let me just focus on the board here, and I don't know. Yep. Okay, so we're right on. So okay, so let's see if we can do this. So what I'm gonna do is, so let's do a table first, and for this I'm gonna say month calendar. Give me month. And so folks, we are trying to build a scatter chart with a play axis. Again, be careful. So Diego is doing something specific, and I think, you know, I can imagine with the COVID-19 case, you can kind of see the timeline. So play axis works, but so it's a specific case, and it makes sense. But generally, for operational reports, be careful about using something like this. Actually, I realized that I don't need month. I need month year. Okay, so I got month year. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just filter down to a single year, just so I can stay more focused. And let's focus on putting in, so let's add sales on there. Cool. And we'll add one more measure, sales year to date. But here, 2016, perfect. So we're looking good. Now we're going to add a sales year to date measure. Play chart. Oh yeah, there we go. And we'll say sales year to date. And we'll say the magic wand, calculate. What do you want to calculate? I still want to calculate sales, but the magic wand lets us ask 3 wishes. Actually, more. People ask me, like, how many expressions can I, these filter things can I specify? And I don't really know, but I do know that if you specify 99 of those, you've gone down the wrong path, mate, because I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be used. So, but I don't know what the limit is. All right, hold it together, Avi. So dates, year to date, and we'll say calendar date. Okay, and let's see how this works. And sales year to date. Okay, so we got that, and here I can say 0. And again, if you see this in a different chart, you can kind of visualize it. Let's try this guy. Oops, I wanted to change this one. And ooh, God. And year to date line values. So yeah, I mean, you can see, well, this is not the best graph to show it here, but yeah, I mean, month to month, and then cumulative is going that way. How do I set a second? Anyway, that's not what we want to do. I just wanted to kind of visualize, show you what's going on. But let's see if we can do a scatter chart. So I'm going to put this guy away and build a scatter chart. And so on play axis, oh, yeah, this is interesting. Can I put month here on there? I can. And it plays through that. And let me put, so Diego, I feel one thing that it seemed to be choking on was that you were using a column, not a measure. I think that's one thing. But
as what, as like in which data field?
okay, let's see. And I need something else here. It's obviously not working. Actually, I should have gotten my thing to work before out of that. So what if we actually let's take the play axis out for a bit, And so we're seeing the sales, and then we can see by legend. Actually, I wonder what does details do? Okay, country. Let's actually keep it to legend, so there are different colors, and then we can say calendar. And now if I bring back the month year, what does that look like? Okay, so let's see how this looks. And yeah, this looks like nothing because it's not cumulative yet. Oh god, that looks really bad. Huh. Maybe we need something more. Maybe we need month year at the x-axis too. Nope. Oh god. Anyway, let's try the cumulative measure. Drag time in play axis field. Okay, Venkat. Thanks, mate. I still might need more help, but let's come back here. Month year in play axis, but let's find our sales year-to-date measure. And does that go here? And what does that look? No, that looks... I don't understand. Details. Okay, hold on. Let's try month year y-axis. Oops. Nope, it's not gonna take it. That's weird. Man, Greg, hey, help me out. I'm trying to move, create a bubble chart, a scatter chart with play axis. And it's been a while since I did that. Let's do this. So, how about we do country by month year? Now, why doesn't it take x-axis? It takes it on play axis. Oh, because country maybe. Yeah, I don't know, Diego. I feel like I'm failing you here.
No problem.
Let me get back to you. I mean, I've built this, but it's been a while.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Yeah, and it's okay. Let me fix that, and I'll get back to you. Maybe we'll drag. Okay, so we're gonna say drag sales year to date in y-axis. Okay, so Wayne could walk me through this. And there's like a 2-minute lag on the YouTube. So sales year to date, I got that, and calendar month year. Can I put that back in play axis? And why does it kind of disappear? So I feel like I'm so close. If I remove month year, I can see these guys. But when I add month year to the play axis, it just disappears.
I think it isn't because the month years is starting from December 2016, 2016, and the sales year today.
No, I mean, it starts January 16, and I can see sales year to date does work for that date. Actually, what if we take country out? I don't think that's going to help. Don't drag time fields into X or Y axis. Scatter won't accept. Yep, so I stayed away from that. So Y axis is sales year to date, and I feel like I'm close. So if I remove month year from the play axis and keep the country as details, legend. Yeah, so this I got, and I really think that at this point, dragging time should work on the play axis. Maybe it is something to do with. Oh God, but then yeah, it just I don't see anything. Oh boy, that's daily. I'll come back month year. What if I drag a month? I don't think. Yeah, man, I feel like this should work, but I can't explain why it's not working. Scatter always needs measures on X and Y axis. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. So, okay, got it. Okay. Oh my God, that's crazy. So, okay. Thank you, Rankin. Where would I be without you, my friend? Okay, so that that makes sense. That makes sense. So let's add. Yeah, of course. Scatter, I think, even with or without play axis, scatter needs measures on both x and y axis. I hope I remember that. All right, so let's add that here, and we'll say order count year to date, and which is calculate order count dates year to date and calendar date. Okay, that was Rankin, man, mate. What can I say? Thank you. So we got the country and order count year to date. I think we're ready to kind of rock and roll. Oh, it's already looking better. And let's do this. So for the size as well, let's put sales year to date. And boy, it's starting to look good. And are you guys ready? And we hit play. And this is how, hey, this is, you're seeing AdventureWorks evolve kind of live. And you can see the bubbles move. And, well, in this case, the path isn't very interesting. But if you click on that, you can trace the path. Okay. So I will say, Diego, this is what I want you to do. All right? You need two measures, and you shall have two measures made. So the one measure I want you to have is number of people infected, and the other is going to be number of deaths. All right? On the x-axis is going to be number of people infected. On the y-axis is going to be number of deaths, right? So if a country moves like this, that means the number of infection are growing, but their deaths are not growing that much, which is a good thing, right? I mean, well, that's partially good. And another country may move like this, which means that, they're not moving that much on the x-axis, so the infections aren't that much, but man, their deaths are pretty high. So they're controlling the infection or somehow, but they're not able to control the deaths because maybe they don't have a good healthcare system or something like that, right? They have shut everything down. They're not letting people move, which is controlling the infection. But since they don't have a good healthcare system, right? So you're going to see I think, and I was going to call it beautiful. Well, I mean, data-wise, it is beautiful. Of course, I think it's slightly not right to use that word in this context, but insightful. Let's go with that, right? So what do you think, Diego? I mean, man, I'm really excited about this now. What do you think about this idea? So
Yeah, it's interesting. The only thing is that I do want to see the I don't know how to say the detail of how every country has evolved
yeah,
since
but
the
you're gonna see that path, right?
days.
So hold on, let me fix my phone. Okay, great. So just like here, you can see the path. Like you have to click on the bubble though. Yeah, right. So I mean, you're gonna have to teach your audience, but clicking on any bubble will show you its path. I would say try it. Try this one, see how it works, and then you can maybe look for, is it a custom visual which does it in a better way and so forth, right? But I'll say, oops. So again, on on x-axis, put number of infections, and on y-axis you're gonna put number of fatalities. And then just like we have colors for different territories, you're gonna have colors for different countries. So that's gonna come from legend, and then you would see the final state. But you can click on any country and you can kind of see the So I see what you're trying to do. Good point.
Let me
Yeah,
try with this. Let me try with this.
yeah, Yeah. So so I'm not sure if you can do it with animation though. You can obviously do it without animation, which I think you already may have. Is that right?
Yeah.
You already have it without animation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to play it out, yeah. So this is the one, and yeah, man. So I'm not really sure what you want animation to do. You want the animation to draw the line gradually, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to do. Um,
Oh, okay, okay, got it. Yeah, I think that's possible. Uh, but we'll have to think how. Uh, yeah, man, that yeah, so the challenge is that I know that if you bring a slicer in or a filter in and you say, I want to look at it day by day, right? I want to look at day 5. Um, so I think so I think what the play axis is doing is that it's selecting it day by day. It's selecting 0, 5, 10, and so forth. Let's see if it actually shows up. Yeah, yeah, I can see that right here, right? So it's going day by day. Oops, let's try play again. So I can see here 7, 8, 9, 11, 10, 11, right? So it's going day by day. We obviously don't want that. So I think so what you really want is you want the selection to go 0 and then 0 and 1, 0 and 2, 0 to 3, right? So it has to increase. I'm not sure how to quite do that. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does make
Yeah,
sense.
so I think that's why this is not working. Um, bleh. I think this is still gonna be really really insightful, mate. Yeah, so try it. X-axis infections, y-axis number of deaths, and for one, it encodes more information. Scatter chart, by the way, guys, straying into the dashboard makeover territory. Stephen Few approved, and I don't use it that often. So again, my staple is text elements, which is card, matrix, table, that sort of stuff, multi-row card. So that's one box, and the other box is just bar or column charts, and then line charts, and that's it, right? So that's my staple. Scatter chart I don't use that much, but it is Stephen Few approved. It is a very powerful visual, and you can see how in this case, right? I mean, because right now Diego is showing cases reported, but you can see how if you show two measures at the same time, like number of cases reported and number of fatalities, it just paints a much richer picture of exactly what's going on in the world, which country is faring good on what front, right? I mean, maybe somebody's really good at handling containing infection, maybe another country is good at kind of keeping the fatality rate down and so forth, right? So and of course you can see kind of over trends. So scatter chart is Stephen Few approved. With the play button, that is not Stephen Few approved. So just use it with caution when you need to. All right, mate. So Diego, hey, next time we do this, I hope to see an updated version, and maybe with the scatter play chart, maybe with even this if you solve it. But yeah, man, that is a really cool problem, man. I'm gonna maybe we'll talk about it on one of our other calls. We can go deeper
Okay.
on this. I mean,
Okay, I'm
I'm a
gonna
little
teach you.
I'm a little hesitant in solving it because to me it feels like the scatter chart is a good alternative. It's not the same what you asked for, but it's still like a powerful visual which kind of communicates similar information. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, there's something there. Awesome, great question, mate. All right,
Savvy.
folks. So let's do a quick check-in. So let's do a quick check-in on YouTube. How's everybody doing? Venkat? Yeah, thank you. Double-edged sword with the data. Yeah, and folks, I might read comments out of context because sometimes you guys have a conversation going on, and I just jump in like, oh, double. Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, you got to be. You can mislead other people with data. Certainly, that should not be your intent. All right, so Daniel Seferi was helping me as well. Yeah, boy, those are golden words, my friend. Scatterchart always uses measures. That makes so much sense. I'm going to write that one down. So at least I'll call this one a partial win for thanks to Venkat's help. For a while, I was thinking I'm going to have to give up. Now, of course, we couldn't get Diego exactly what he was looking for. So, folks, yeah, I mean, if you looking for a challenge, then where'd my file go? Not this one. Oh, I think, gosh, did I close it? I think I might have closed it. But, oh, there it is. Yeah, so think about this. How would you animate this? So Diego wants these lines to be drawn out. Like the axis should stay probably the same, which is not hard to do, right? But the lines should be drawn as if somebody's like drawing like over time, and then, you know, this line kind of goes up and so forth. So how would you do that? Interesting problem. If you are able to solve it before Diego does, then you can go to ShareDataPro.com. Hey, is it? Well, I'll find out. I hope Diego has a way to contact him. Oh, there it is. Connect with me. Yeah, send him a message on LinkedIn. Yep. So you can connect with him on LinkedIn, and his mission is to bring equality to the world. PowerBI is an awesome tool, and there's a lot of information available in English, but not in Espanol. My understanding is that there are more speakers with Spanish as their first language than English. Is that right, Diego?
That's correct. That's native speakers.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, right? I mean, so unfair. And Diego is on a mission to restore that balance, bring balance to the force. All right, cool. So Share Data Pro, we'll just put in the link as well. So folks, yeah, if you can solve it, and again, we want to animate this graph. Imagine like a play button or something, but yeah, it just draws this thing over time. That would be cool. Okay. Bob, let's move on to you. You had not one question, but two. So that could be cool. I hope you're still on.
Still on.
Nice. All right. Wait, I hope I didn't shout in your ear. Okay, so let's line that up. If I can know how to click, and we're gonna go. Okay, there we go. So this one we did. Which one would you like us to take on first?
Well, let's do the second one, the Power Pivot or the matrix table thing.
Matrix. How to add data to a matrix table in Power BI Desktop?
Right.
Yeah. So
now this would be a completed matrix table.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
That they want to complete the matrix table, the client does, and then they want to send that out to their customers to have the customers fill in adjusting entries, and then they can see the updated subtotals and totals.
Well, that sounds like an Excel thing. I mean,
yeah, that's what I figured out.
I would bet that they're used to doing this in Excel, and
sure enough.
So Power BI is not Excel.
Right. Well, what I can do is I can send the matrix to Excel, recreate the pivot table, and then modify the source data and update the pivot table, and then move it back to Power BI, which is, I'm just looking for a simple workaround.
Well, there is a simple workaround. It is a paid option, though. There are third-party companies which do write back to. So. And one of them is a company, believe it or not, inspired. Well, at least the name is inspired by me. Oh shoot, sorry, not Power On now. PowerOnBI.com. So yeah, I know the owner. I mean, I don't get paid by them or anything. I know the owner. I have used their tools, and he loved my tagline, Power On, and that inspired the company's name. But they do write back, And yeah, so if you guys are really keen on that you do want to show, and again, so the way write back works is you can be looking at the matrix and you can just edit it. Frankly, it sounds, yeah, I mean, I've seen the demos, but it sounds like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, so you can explore that if you're interested. Of course,
Cool.
they also do write back with Excel, so that you can give them a pivot table in Excel using their tools, and they can just write over it, and it gets written back to the database. So yeah, it's really cool for people who need it, who have that scenario. It is mind blowing because it saves you so much work. But again, I mean, these are obviously kind of paid offering. They've kind of invested to build these tools, so that is one option. But I think you already have a beat on it, which is you can do it the poor man's way, where you give them an Excel file which they can update, which and then you kind of suck in what they updated back into Power BI. But of course, that is kind of manual. The advantage with write back is that it can be almost live. It can be live, like where they update it and boom, it shows up right away everywhere in all systems because it's written back directly to the database. Sorry, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, you can use Power Automate to write back as well, and you can actually integrate it into your Power BI reports.
Of course. Why don't I think of that? Yeah, so you can use Power Automate. It used to be called Power Flow. Yeah, God, that should have come to me first. So yeah, and of course the old school kind of Excel way.
Okay, wasn't aware of that. That's cool.
Yeah, so a few options. Let's see if we can tackle the next one. And okay, so we call it done. Confirmation for budget measures. So this one is 1013. Budget month something. Where would there be a better method to define the measure? Mate, I don't think I would be able to help you much without looking at a model. I mean, if you've seen me, the first thing I look for is the relationship view, because I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I just, yeah, so
I can lay it out for you right fast. The back table has an ID key, a year, and
actually,
amount.
can you share your screen?
Oh, I don't
think,
well.
Yeah, so what I'm
No,
talking about is, yeah,
no, I wouldn't be able to share the screen.
Okay, cool. So I think that would, I mean, I need the visual, right? I mean, I need this to kind of ground myself. That's where I almost always start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I could do that.
Right. So, okay.
I'm sorry. I was just concerned about confidential data. That's all. This is not confidential.
Sure. So, yeah, you can. So what I sometimes do is I take a screenshot of that and put it in paint.net, and that's what I share. That way, I don't even by mistake click on the data tab or something. So you can do it that way. You want to try it?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to stop sharing, and you can click on the share screen button on your side.
Where is it?
The green share screen button. Yep, it's coming up, and yeah, awesome. Okay, so this seems. So you got a budget table. Man, I'll say that this isn't set up right, and that may or may not have much bearing on the specific question you have, but it's the budget table that you have. You need to unpivot it. Instead of having columns which go January, and January, February, March, and so forth, that needs to be in rows. Does that make sense?
Well, they're not going to change their final report output.
Well, so here's the thing. The model has nothing to do with reporting.
Okay.
Right? Model has nothing to do with reporting. Power BI model is the engine, the heart that powers everything else, right? And it is built on its own set of principles, which are somewhat similar to, well, they're similar to data warehouse principles. Now, they're definitely different than Excel. In Excel, you flatten everything using VLOOKUP, so it's one big table. So it is not that. And then in SQL use a third normal form and all that stuff, and it is not that either. So this uses what is called star schema. In my program, I described as data and lookup tables, right? So that is the model, and it has nothing to do with the way the data is being stored or how it's coming in, because you have the magic wand of query editor to clean, shape, and transform to what you want, and it has nothing to do with the shape of the report. So you build a model first, and then if you build the model right, then reporting is easy and say, oh, okay, cool, I need this and that, right? So I'll say that. Having said that, gosh, if let me look at your formula again, and so you're saying would there be a better method to define? I'll say if you have the measure working, I don't think it's worth it to look at is it a better way, because there's no better way to define the measure. There's a better way to define the model. And usually if you do the model right, the measures often become much, much easier. So I think that's what you're going to experience, right? Yeah. So again, if you've been through the program, so you know about this stuff, right? I mean, you focus on a data table, and then I go who,
That's
what,
a good
where,
point.
when, how. Yeah.
That's exactly why Power BI is better, because it's more model focused.
I know, but yeah, I mean, if you miss that step, it sometimes can become kind of challenging. And I have a feeling that if you clean up the model and kind of do it the Power BI way, again, it initially may feel like a bit of an effort. There would be a bit of a step there. It's like, oh, well, I knew how to do that there, but how do I do it with this model thing? But once you get that, generally what you would find is things kind of become easier. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks. So let's do this. Let's do a shout out on YouTube. So, folks, we're kind of new to this stock Power BI thing as well, the Q&A portion. And I'll admit I'm not 100% sure of what is the best way to run it. Ideally, what I would like to do is to take one question from a student and one from a YouTube audience. But what makes it challenging, and I'm being totally upfront with you guys, is that there's a bit of a lag. There's actually can be a 2 to 3 minute lag, so it's not live. So if I say, hey folks in YouTube, who's ready for the next question, then I don't know what to do for the 2 or 3 minutes. I can learn to juggle, I guess, but that makes it a little tricky. But let's switch over to YouTube, and let's see. So Alejandro, awesome. Okay. Did I get that right? Column 3. So let's find your question. So we got these two. Nice. Hey, the night is still young, folks. I don't know, the last call, I think it at least went 3 hours. And I think I had Hassan on YouTube as well. QDD. Am I not getting a name right? So Alejandro, I'm not. Oh, wait. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Oh, there we go. Okay, got it. So you said it's duplicate. That's cool. Let's see if it's exactly it is duplicate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to archive this one. And I'm going to focus on this. And we're in business. Yay. Okay. Alejandro from Medellin, Mexico, is asking, how do we get price index? Oh, you know what? 1020. Did I mark that? I'm going to have to restart the question. Okay, here we go. So Alejandro from Medellin, Mexico is asking, how can we get price index without using variables in live connection? Ooh, boy. That one is... Okay, I'm just going to say it out. I'm not a... like live connections are not my default. Default is import, because that gives me full power. Live connection becomes tricky. And I see you have shared a file, but if it is a live connection, oh, it's an XLSX file. Okay, let's see. All right, let's read through. So I need to get the price index, base chain price, price value, but I'm not allowed to use variables and selected value due to the source type. Oh, yeah, that's the reason why default for me is not a live connection, it's import. Okay, cool. Because this has limitations on both the query editor and DAX, which are the two main engines of Power BI. My data source is a cube and SQL analysis services, which is a live connection with millions of transactions and does not use all DAX expressions. Yep, not sure if it's a type of connection or the version where the data is out. I just discovered. Yeah, so live connections. So if you say live connection DAX limitations, hopefully, well, yeah, there is an article, direct query. I think direct query and live connection have the same limitation. Yeah, so there's some stuff you can't use, and it's okay. Anyway, so let's come back here. So you have a sheet. Let me just download this one. Put in a 2020 file. So this one is 2020 417 Alejandro price index variable. Okay, did I get the file? I did. Thanks for sending the file, by the way. Wow, lots of details. Let me just switch over to the data sample. Okay, got it. So, chains, maybe that's a store chain. Chain key, chain name. And again, chain, I'm thinking like a store. So there are multiple stores. Okay, got it. Addition properties. Okay, by the way, these two should be flattened. Oh, well, actually, I don't know why it's listed twice. It's the same thing. I thought it was a different table, but it's the same thing. So this is the base, and then we have some data coming in for each store or chain. And okay, so the data is well structured. So this is kind of the data table. This is kind of the lookup table. Data is well structured. That's good. Okay. Oh man, don't make me read. Get price index without using variables or live connection. I need to get the price index. I need to get the price index, base chain price by price value, but I'm not allowed to use variables and selected value to the source type. My data source is a cube, got it. My DAX, that works. Okay, man, this would be hard. Would this be hard? I don't know. Let's see. Calculate. So you're saying, do you have a DAX that works? I need to select a base chain. So if I select chain 1, I get 0% of price variation versus chain 1. Oh, man. Hey, Alejandro, man, this is a little more nuanced. It's going to be really hard to solve it without you having on the phone. Yeah. But you know what? I do want to help you because you've put in clearly so much work into sending this question in. If you can stay on for a bit, I can open up the phone lines and invite you to the call. And hopefully solve. It'll be really embarrassing if you get on the phone and I'm like, oh, sorry, mate, I tried. But, you know, if Venkat hangs around, we have hope. And again, Venkat, thank you for helping me through the scatter chart earlier. Oh, God. Oh, you know what? Let me just read through this. So DAX that works. So I'm not sure about this. Like, do you have something that works? I need to select a base in order for this to work. I would normally use a variable and selected value for this. Use going to say variable selected value. Give this. calculate this selected value. That was perfectly power when I connected this. Got it. Has one value. So instead, if I use has one value, I can find the base price, but it returns infinite to the other chains. Oh man, base price calculate filter if has one. So has one value is allowed. Okay, you know what? Let's just see how far we can get with this. So, so the great legends, Marco Russo, Alberto Ferrari, they had a saying. It's not a DAX formula unless it's being formatted. They have an amazing tool, DAX Formatter. If you haven't used it, super duper awesome. Use it all the time. Oh God, what? It's not happy. It's well. Why isn't it happy? Base price. Did I not copy it right? Okay, man. Yeah, I think I need you on the phone. Sorry, I think I can solve it, but it'll take it'll be much harder for me by myself. So I think we can tag team on this. So hopefully you can stay on, and we can solve that. So okay, so hold on, mate, and let's come back and let's check in with our students. So now that we have stepped through a few of the students' questions, I think now it's fair. I'm gonna try to go back and forth between the students. So let's see. Show menu, label and price, student submission. So we still have a lot of student questions from Nathan, Vijay, Bob. You said ignore the earlier questions, but Jacqueline, Darren, Chinedu from Lagos, Nigeria, Darren, and another question from Vijay. So if any of you are on the phone, then speak up, mates. I am often not able to check the... Okay. All right, so I didn't hear anything. So that means it's fair game for YouTube. So back at you guys. And again, I have... I'm holding on to the question from Alejandro. But let's see if there are other folks who submitted questions. Are you guys on? We can do kind of a roll call. So if you are on, let me know. You know what? While I'm waiting for the answer, again, there's a bit of a lag. I'll just run through the reminders again. If you go to our site, learnpowerbi.com, this has news about 2 awesome events coming up. These are going to be the real Power BI project presentation. And these are the, kind of the Pro Plus group, which are working to become Power BI consultants or grow their consulting business, who've been working on real projects. And what I've encouraged them to do is to come on the show and just give you the raw, unfiltered version. It was like, this is how everything went. The good and bad, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not the sanitized conference room style presentation where it's like, oh yeah, it was awesome, and look at me, I'm so awesome, and yeah, everything is great. And that's often... doesn't often work that way, right? So I think there's going to be a lot to learn. And again, these folks are working as or working towards becoming an independent consultants, or already are independent consultants. But it doesn't really make a difference. So if you're in a company, then your clients are going to be internal to the company. And if you're working as an independent consultant, then your clients are going to be, well, outside your company, of course. But otherwise, a project is a project is a project. I mean, I don't think you're going to approach it much differently. So regardless of whether you're on this path or not, I think you're going to get a lot out of this. And again, go to the learnpowerbi.com, add these events to your calendar because you do not want to miss it. And for one, you also help us select the winners. There's going to be $1,000 in cash prize, and you're going to vote for it. So we're excited. We certainly want you there, and we want you to be voting for your favorite candidate. So that's that. The next one is the COVID-19 Biz Help. it's the the page says it all. Free Power BI help for businesses impacted by COVID-19 crisis, because not just me, but a lot of other Power BI professionals, we felt like we wanted to do something. We wanted to do something meaningful in this current crisis to really help others. And since we're not doctors or nurses, can't help that way, but I'm not good at sewing, so not making masks is not an option. Although Charles Elwood has this other thing where he's printing 3D masks, so that's his baby. But Power BI is our zone of genius, so that's how we're trying to help. And that's it, right? So cool. So let's see if I got anything in. So Arabinda is on. Ammar is on. Cool. So hey, now we're, awesome. Thank you guys. So 10:20, and this was kind of suspended. So let's park that. And what we're gonna do is Arabinda is on. And who did I see? Okay, yeah, Alejandro was trying to help me. Yeah, Alejandro, we'll get you on the phone. Jihwan Kim. Jihwan Kim was the first one who responded earlier in DAX. Got it. And Arabinda, actually Ammar was the next one, and Arabinda. And Arabinda is saying, to give you some background, a kind of question. Got it. If you submit it, is there a cache flag in Power BI as I'm trying to refresh my data that comes from the web URL, but it's not refreshing, capturing the data in my report? No, I've never slammed. So yeah, to quickly answer your question, I've never seen that. If the web, God. So what Slam is asking is that, you can go to a web page and connect Power BI to that web page, and it's supposed to be kind of automatic. And if this page updates, then I hit refresh in Power BI or automatic refresh, and my Power BI data model gets updated. So Slam is saying that he's having trouble with that. Could it be that the page is cached? I don't believe so. The only caching that it does is the query editor, but that doesn't apply. When you hit refresh, it goes and refreshes. So yeah, that shouldn't be the problem. I'll say try this. Instead of whatever page you're connecting to, try creating like an HTML page on your desktop, and just simple table, HTML table. Connect Power BI to that, and then go edit that and see if that works. At least that will give you a clue that at least that is working, and then maybe, I don't know. So of course the web is such a nuanced world now. For example, a lot of websites, to speed things up, they use caching services. So it couldn't be on your side, could be on their side. And yeah, so guys, I mean, there was a time when I can go to a web page and I'll get the exact same version as everybody else, but now it doesn't work that way, because websites are optimized. They use what is called, I think, called CDN, content delivery networks. And yes, these are like all over, and they could have servers all over, and basically you could be talking to a different CDN server, I could be talking to different CDN. So yeah, I don't know, and I don't, maybe I shouldn't speak about this stuff, but what I'm trying to say is that there's more complexity on that side of things that could be affecting you. So what you can do by creating an HTML page on your own machine is you eliminate that, and you say, well, look, this works, but then hopefully you. Yeah, I don't know. Talk to the who's running that website. It was something like that. So no cache flag. It's not supposed to work. So okay, great. You're trying to help the companies with their COVID-19. Awesome. Okay, so let's go in the order that it came in. Jihwan Kim. Hey. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, and go show menu, search, and no, didn't find you by your name, but you did say something about earlier. Aha, Jihwan. Sorry, I got your name wrong. Okay, so clear this, and folks, so we're now answering Jihwan's question from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Woo. When and how to use the earlier function in Power BI by Jihwan, Amsterdam, Netherlands. And I saw the function earlier used in analyzing a specific product sales data in different countries when the author calculates in each country how many days passed and how the sales is still increasing or start flattening. Okay, each 100 sold case happens on a different day. Well, so without that file with me, I'm not sure how much I'll be able to help. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, since I don't have that file, my response unfortunately is going to be a bit generic. But 37. And let's go here. So earlier, I'll admit that I don't remember the last time I used earlier. Yeah, I have no idea. It's probably been years. And I'll tell you why. Now, earlier, for the most part, where I've seen this being used is a DAX calculated column. And I don't do those. I just don't do them. I don't know why people do that. Frankly, I don't even understand why they do DAX calculated tables. It's just silly. It's, yeah. So if you've gone through my 60-minute tutorial, and of course, if you've gone through my course, Learn Power BI, then I talk a whole lot about this. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So if you're doing math in the DAX calculated column, you shouldn't. That's for measures. That's what DAX measures are for. And if you're doing some kind of clean shape transform in a calculated column, that's what the kitchen is for. That's what the query editor is for. So I don't even remember when I last wrote the DAX calculated column. Now, there are some specific scenarios where it still makes sense, but they're very, very specific. All right, so again, if you're doing math, DAX measures. If you're doing some clean shape transforms, like, oh, I want to combine first name and last name. Duh, do it in the kitchen, right? Do it in the query editor. So so I don't really use that much. That's where I've seen it. Why is that? So earlier has to do with row context. And again, folks, if you've gone through, so I'm going to assume, at this point, I'm going to assume you've either gone through my 60-minute tutorial on my channel, or you've gone through my Learn Power BI program. Right, so we're going to set the stakes there. If you haven't, then go through that and then come back and watch whatever I'm going to say next, because otherwise it's not going to make sense, right? So again, I mean, either you've taken and ignore the playlist, the first video, that's the key one, that's 60 minutes, and that's really quick. And of course, our courses, Power BI. So I hope I get it right. Ooh. Okay, that's gonna come up in a second, but yeah, I end up. Wow, it's a little slow. All right, so when it comes up, I'll switch to that. Actually, okay, there we go. All right. So here, so again, the 60-minute tutorial that I have, that is a subset of the first module, and the first module I cover that content, kind of the overview, lay of the land, but I go deeper. This is actually 2.5 hours long, and then we dive deeper into each core area. And by the way, folks, if you're interested in the Learn Power BI course, just go to our site and just go and look under training. All right, so come back here. So we go through all of that, and of course a key part of that is DAX, the filter context. Do I talk about? Yeah, I'm pretty sure row context transition, and so forth, right? So that's covered in detail here, but you can find a little bit of it in here as well. I think 60-minute tutorial. So cool. So let's pick it up from there. So there are two contexts, right? There is a filter context, and there is a row context. And the context is kind of a fancy word. Whatever, I mean, of course everybody uses it now, but filter context is nothing but a filtered set of rows. That's all it is. It's such a simple thing. And again, there was a time, guys, when these two words would have my knees shaking, because typically what would happen is I would write something in DAX and it wouldn't work, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta think about my row context and filter context, and I didn't want to do that. I avoided these as a plague because I thought they were really complicated and I didn't understand them. There's the simplest concept in the world, and I think we overcomplicate it. That's the problem. You think that it's way too complicated. It isn't. So filter context is what? It's the filtered set of rows. Anybody who has gone in Excel. So let me show you what a filter context is. So let's say this is a table, right? I mean, and if you've done this, then you know what filter context is. This is it, right? And what is row context? That's maybe even simpler. That's just the knowledge of the current row. Do I know which row am I on? And yeah, so that's all that is, right? Oh, like, look at me, right? I mean, where's my cursor? Oh, it's on this row. That means I have a row context, right? If I remove that, like imagine, I don't know, like if I switch sheets or something, and imagine this green thing isn't there. Do I have a row context? No, I do not, because I don't know which row I'm on, right? So imagine if the green thing isn't there. So that's what it is. Now, if it is so simple, then why is everybody so tripped up about this? Because there are a few different ways that filter context and row context can be affected, and all of those different ways can be combined in infinite number of variety. That's what trips people up. But again, the way to approach this is to simplify it, break it down, and know that it is really, really simple. In fact, you've heard me say this before, the way to learn DAX is not to get smart. You got to get dumb. So DAX is actually kind of dumb because, and again, in my course and in my channel, I talk about the I can rule. It goes through this kind of really dumb set of steps and it follows them mechanically. Where we get in trouble is that humans are intuitive. For now, at least, we are generally smarter. I mean, overall smartness, right? I mean, obviously, if you have me compete doing one calculation, yeah, DAX is beat the heck out of me. But generally, I mean, right? I mean, we're smarter, we're intuitive, but DAX doesn't work that way. DAX is kind of dumb. It just goes step by step, very mechanical. That's not natural for humans. We don't operate that way. We work in these intuitive leaps, right? So you have to dumb yourself down. Okay, so let's come back here. So if you understand what filter context is, if you understand what a row context is, then let's talk about calculated columns and versus measures, right? So calculated column versus measure. Now, so there are lots of ways that these are different. One of the ways in which these are different is in calculated column, a row context is built in. It's just there. And for DAX measure, filter context is built in. Now, this is where it gets interesting. In a calculated column, can you create a filter context? You can. In measures, can you create a row context? You can. So by default, a calculated column knows that which row am I on, which is the row context, and by default, measures inherit the filter context, right? So by default, calculated columns don't have filter context, and so you see weird results, right? So usually earlier, and these contexts can be nested within each other. So you can have a filter context, and so obviously there is the incoming. The first filter context for a measure is the incoming filter context. That is always there, right? But then you use calculate sales, right? And then you say color equals red, which there's a slight syntax problem here. Let's say product color equals red, right? So there was an incoming filter context, but what is the filter context for sales? It's different. Right, so this, imagine it is a nested filter context, and of course you can chain these together. You can have a calculate inside a calculate inside a calculate, and all of that. So the filter context, you can nest them inside each other. You can do the same thing with row context, right? So row context, Typically, let's take with a calculated column. It already has so incoming row context. This is in a calculated column. And then if you do some kind of filter function inside there, which creates its own row context. So again, just the way filter context can be nested, row context can be nested as well. And earlier is simply saying that, oh, I'm on this row now. That's what row context is. Nothing more. I'm on this row now, right? Say it with me. That's what row context is, knowing which row you're on right now, right? So that is row context. But what earlier does is that, oh, in this level, I'm on this row, but what about the previous level? Where was I on the previous level, right? So imagine you're going row by row in a table. Really, really simple. Data, clear all. Right, so imagine, and anybody who has done programming, imagine like a loop inside a loop. Simple as that, right? So let's say I'm looping through this whole table, and then within that loop there's another loop, right? Maybe let's try this. So sales, and this is actually, you know what? This is going to be a decent example. So let's say I want to loop through all of these, right? So that's going to be my outer loop. That's my initial loop, and since I'm looping through it, that means I'm going row by row, which means I'm creating row context, right? So I start at row 1, do something, start at row 2, do something, start at row 3, do something. That's my outer loop, right? And of course, in your case, outer loop can be a calculated column, because that's what it's doing. A calculated column calculates it row by row. In a calculated column, the row context is implied. It's implicit. It's always there, right? So you're going row by row and doing something, but then that is your outer loop. But then when you are calculating something, so I'm going row by row. This is my current row right now. I know what my current row is. That's my row context. But then the calculation that I do is, I want to go now row by row across all the table and calculate the average, and then come back to this row and compare it with that, right? So there are two row contexts, and you want to refer to the earlier row context. So now you go in an inner loop, and then you refer back to that. So folks, if that sounded way too loopy, then ignore everything that I said. This is actually a simple concept, but I had a bit of a disadvantage. I don't have a good example to show you. So of course, in my course, and I'm not sure if I go into this detail on YouTube, but look at the ICANN stuff and so forth. But I know in my course, when I show it with an example, it's going to make sense. It's going to make sense, right? But hopefully it gave you kind of some idea. So again, earlier, all it does is just nested row context, and it lets you refer to the, what was the row context before that? All right, so hopefully that gave you some guidance. Who's up next? Ammar? Previous upper loop, not the time earlier. Yeah, not the time. I mean, yeah, so think about nested. So just the way filter context can be nested, row context can be nested. So Jihwan, awesome. So it seems like it helped a little bit. So let's go on to Ammar. 1050. Ammar, magic is happening. And let's go over here and find our friend here. Ammar. Oh, yay. It's so much easier when I can spell the name right, huh? I made a mistake. So I was, Alejandro is still on hold. How to create a suitable users ordering metrics. Okay. I'm a reporting analyst. Where is he? Syria, Damascus. Awesome. I'm reporting. PowerBI knows no boundaries, eh? I'm a reporting analyst at a food delivery service company, and I'm facing a problem creating the correct metrics to analyze regarding user status and purchasing. Get the average time. Ooh, 2 questions in one. I would like to create a table showing the number of monthly orders, how many new users ordered for the first time, returning customers. Man, that's a lot of questions in one. So I'm not sure. I mean, you don't have. So again, I mean, this folks makes it challenging for me. It's kind of like one of my managers. He would line up all these tasks for us, and we would say, okay, well, can we prioritize them? Like, what's high priority? What's P1? And you're like, oh, they're all P0. So guys, if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. So you've asked me a few different questions, so I don't even know which one to answer. And so let's see. God, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do anything with this. Ammar, this is a bit of a mini project. So I can give you some guidance. Number of monthly orders should be simple. It should be some. That's all you're looking for. So what I would say is, if you haven't gone through my 60-minute tutorial, then it's right here. These are my best videos. And if you click on this guy, then yeah, it's just well, it's actually 63 minutes 30 seconds, but close enough, right? So go through this, and if you go through that, then I have full confidence that you're going to be able to knock this one out. Number of monthly orders. In fact, you can look at the monthly orders and you can slice and dice it a lot of different ways. So that one is going to be done. New users and returning. This is a classic format. I don't remember. Maybe I teach it in my course, and my course has a pro level as well, the advanced Power BI. Maybe I cover it there. But for you, just do new returning customers DAX, and you will find the pattern. These are pretty classic ones. And DAX pattern, that is a website by the folks I mentioned, Marco Russo, Alberto Ferrari, really great guys. So I can guide you there. So new customer return comes with a standard pattern. You shouldn't have any trouble with that. Lost customers, yeah, I think once you do new and returning, you should be able to do that. So sorry, I mean, that was not much of a question. It was like, how do I? Yeah. So folks, if you're looking at mini projects or projects like this, you have 2 options. One is to teach yourself, and I would recommend that you go enroll in some training. And I'll tell you why, guys. Hey, I learn everything through Google and YouTube, pretty much everything, right? So I mean, we got a dog, and we wanted to learn how to train our dog. Guess where we went? We went to YouTube, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and for a lot of things, you can get away with that. And early in my life, SQL, Excel, yeah, I would just get books and all that sort of stuff, and so forth. But the challenge with Power BI is that it's slightly different. Excel, you can learn in tips and tricks, right? But Power BI, you can't quite learn it through the jigsaw puzzle of Google and YouTube. Many have tried, and I wouldn't say you can't, but it's incredibly hard. You make it really hard on yourself, and what that's going to mean is it's going to take you much longer. So if you respect your time, and you respect the fact that Power BI is kind of hot right now, and the quicker you can speed up your learning curve, the more impact you can make and better you can position yourself in this industry, right? So, I mean, what if you get there in 1 month instead of taking 6 months or a year? In fact, I meet people who have been around Power BI for years, 2 or 3 years, believe it or not, and they say, Avi, I still feel like I'm a thin ice. Because, again, you can't learn it like Excel and tips and tricks through the jigsaw puzzle of Google and YouTube. Man, you gotta nail the core concepts. And that's what a course is gonna give you. A good course at least should give you. So that's the focus of my course. And the good stuff is under the hood, so that's what we focus on. Man, query editor, relationships, DAX. If you nail that, the visual stuff is easy. In fact, in the visuals, we focus on core concept. Visuals is a bunch of tips and tricks, which, is not that tips and tricks you can learn anywhere. The core concept of visualization, that's what we focus on. But again, the good stuff is here. And if you master this, then it's 20% of the core concepts are going to give you 80% of the results, right? So again, folks, right? So, and again, you don't have to sign up for my course. There are lots of good courses out there. Whatever works best for you, but I would recommend something that's going to give you. So that's one path. other path is, of course, just hire somebody. And of course, in a site, hey, just hit me, contact me, and we're gonna assign you. We're gonna connect you with an amazing Power BI professionals. Now, of course, I'm in a lucky spot, so these days I don't really do any consulting myself. My goal is to basically teach others to fish, right? So I can connect you with kind of a good Power BI professional who can help you with the journey. So that way you can go much faster. With that way, you could solve something like this probably in days. So those are the two paths, right? So training and consulting, and of course you can do both. In fact, a lot of companies that I work with, they do use both because they want the consulting to get the immediate results, but they want the training because they want to end up being in control, like empower themselves. And I strongly recommend that. I like building your in-house talent and so forth. So if you're running a company, identify the people, what we call the data gene people, and groom them, train them, get them the training and all that sort of stuff, right? So those can go hand in hand. So sorry, mate, I wasn't kind of directly able to help you, but hopefully the pointers that I gave you. So again, 60-minute tutorial, that'll give you the first one. Start there. And for new and returning, just Google that, new and returning customers in DAX. And yeah, this one is an awesome resource. And if you have done that, I think you'll be able to solve lost customers. Okay, cool. So let's see who was next up. Oh, by the way, so there is a third option. Unfortunately, the timing is a little bit off. We do run real Power BI where we work on your projects for free, but we only run this twice a year. And obviously now we're getting ready to do the final presentations of the project that these guys worked on, or Pro Plus consultants. So that could have been an option when that's open. If you are interested in that, if you would like a Power BI professional in our program to work on your project, so again, real Power BI is simple. We have you submit projects, and then the professionals within our program select those projects and work for free. Right? And the catch is that it's time based, so it's a blocked 4 to 6 week project. It's not going to go beyond that, and of course these guys are professionals, but the onus is also on you to make sure you remove any roadblocks in their path, make sure the data is kind of available, and kind of work with them to get the most out of that limited time, 4 to 6 weeks, right? So that's and if you are interested for maybe a future project, if you click on this right now, you can join a wait list. So the next time we run real Power BI, you can do that. So I guess those are a few different options I'll say to you. All right. Oh wow, some discussion going on. Yeah, Ammar. So yep, keep going in that journey. Got it. There's some other discussion going on. Power Query M language. So Power Query in M language. Which book have I read? I forgot now. M is for Data Monkey is a good book. There's another book. I actually have not read M is for Data Monkey. I've read the other book, but you got, I don't know, just Amazon. Oh, wow. So, Slam, that is really interesting. Wow, that's kind of weird. So I'm looking at what you typed in. I wouldn't imagine that that's what would mess up the refresh. Shabana has a good question. I'll park that for now, and maybe we'll nailing Power BI interview. So let's come back. So we got Jihwan, we got Ammar. Who is the next one? Arabinda. Hey, Arabinda, hopefully you're still on. Give me a shout out on the YouTube chat. And folks, if you're on the call, on the phone, and maybe after this, even if you didn't submit question, but if you have something you want to ask me, we'll kind of open it up to that. Why not? But let's look at Arabinda. Okay. So go here. Nope, did I misspell your name? Arabinda. Okay, I did misspell your name. Okay, well, let me see what Arabinda said. Count if something like Arabinda. I'm not sure why I'm not able to. Let me try your last name. Nope. Nope. So I'm not having any luck with your name or your question. So Arabinda, help me find your question. And by the way, guys, if you go to talkpowerbi.com, you can actually access this board that I'm using. You can click on this, and everybody has access to it. And you can type in, and you can find your question, and just paste the URL for me. So Arabinda, if you find a question, well, there are lots of them, then you can click on it, and then just whatever that URL is up top, just paste that in here. So Arabinda, if you're still on, I would need some help because I couldn't find your question. Arabinda, yeah. So go on this board. Actually, I'll put the link to the board, and if you open that, if you can find that question. Well, mate, so if you pre-submitted it, I mean, I'm open to taking your question, but if you pre-submitted it, we generally help me find that. Count if, because I'm not finding it either through your name or if I search for count if. Yep, nothing. Oh god, yeah. So Arabinda. All right, so let's check in with our friends on the phone then. And you know what? Maybe we'll after that go to Alejandro, who's been waiting as well. So on the phone, it doesn't matter if you submitted anything or not. Who cares? We're on the phone. So yeah, if you have anything you want to ask me, let's just go.
I've got a really quick question, Avi.
Hey, Dan.
So publishing something to the Power BI service, what does that require aside from a Power BI license? Do you have to purchase something else to leverage the service?
Well, so you do need a license, but it is a free license. Right, so that's
you have access to the Power BI service without paying anything else besides purchasing a license? You
don't need to purchase anything. I mean, well, yeah, it's a free license for Power BI. So yeah, I generally call it, yeah. Right, so if you go to PowerBI.com, you can create an account there for free, and that would let you publish.
For one person, or can you share that across like an organization?
There you go. Right. So yeah. So okay. The catch is that free license is for individual use only, but you ask for publishing. So the basic. So publishing, you just need a free license, and that's for individual use. But then if you want to say, oh, now I published it, I would like to share it with others, then both parties need a paid license.
And a paid license meaning the Power BI like $15 a month license, or is there something for the service itself that has to be licensed?
No. So yeah, you just I think it's $10 a month. Hopefully they didn't increase it. That would be not good. So yes, it's called the PowerBIPro license, $10 per month per user, and that's all you need. And
where does so when I publish it, just doing that, where am I publishing it to?
Great. Yeah, so mostly it works, and again, I'm on thin ice here, but it works similar to how other software as a service work. So imagine, like G Drive, Dropbox, and so forth. And imagine if they had a similar model, which is silly. Let's say they're all. So imagine you're a paid Dropbox customer. Now they have. Right, I mean, they have their cloud, and basically they have this shared cloud. And so obviously it's going to be sandboxed, so nobody else but you can see the data until you give them access, but it is sitting on the same kind of servers, same cloud infrastructure. So yeah, it's I don't think I can help you more than that. But yeah, they have put some stuff in the cloud in the data center somewhere, and of course there are multiple data centers across globe, and when you publish it, it just puts it on those servers, and everybody who's on these licenses, either a free or a paid, again, you can publish just by being on a free. And so you can be publishing on a free license or a paid license, but anybody who publishes goes into that common pool. Does that helping?
I think so. So somebody told me that there was like a $20,000 a year fee to leverage the publishing service. And is that maybe for an organization, or what is that?
Well, so that one would give you a private cloud. So
Got it.
right now you go and we're kind of, my data could be sitting next to your data, even though we could be in different organization. And again, they sandbox it. It's not like you can see my stuff, but it's still sitting on the same server. And but you can get like a private not a server, but private like capacity.
Your own area to publish stuff, right?
Yeah, and that you can buy through $5,000 a month. Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, that seems expensive.
Yeah.
But for large organizations, it does have. So this one is called Premium, Power BI Premium. It does have actually tremendous advantages. And while we're here, might as well talk about it. So $5,000 a month, and what you buy is dedicated capacity. So the way I think these things work is you obviously still don't get like a server. It's not like, oh yeah, this server is mine, but you get a dedicated capacity. One advantage of that is that, for one, what Premium does is theoretically it gives you unlimited view-only users. Now, this is a somewhat of a sore point with Power BI. There's no view-only license. I wish there was. So Pro, $10 per month per user, can be used by a Power BI author like me, which is going to be a heavy-hitting user. Man, I'm in the desktop, I'm creating models, I'm publishing them, I'm setting up automated refresh, right? And I'm paying $10 a month. And I can have 50 or 100 or 1,000 users in my organization. All they do is once a month, they go to my report and click a few things. But I still have to pay $10 for each one of them. It seems almost kind of unfair. So, well, it is what it is. So, yeah, there's no view-only license, at least at the pro level. But if you go premium, then you get theoretically unlimited view-only users. Now, of course, in practice, it's not unlimited because you do get limited capacity. So, man, if you put like 100,000 users on there, it'll probably bring your capacity down. It'll bring your service down. Now, of course, since you get unlimited view-only users and you have dedicated capacity, you can scale that based on your needs, as opposed to if you're on a public server, kind of a shared cloud. I don't know. I mean, I have never noticed it myself, but imagine if you go in, I don't know, Monday morning, maybe you would notice that PowerBI.com is running a bit slower for you because everybody's on there. I don't know. I have never noticed, but it's theoretically possible. In this one, you're on your own capacity, so the whole world could be hammering PowerBI.com. It's not going to matter to you. And there are other benefits too. So unlimited view only, dedicated capacity. So publishing, you just need a free license. Sharing it with others, or you both need a paid license, Pro, $10 per month per user. And for the kind of the big fish, this one makes sense. And this one obviously also starts making sense when you go north of 500 users, because if you have imagined 500 users, well, 500 times 10 is 5,000. Might as well just kind of pay for premium.
Excellent. That helped a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. There's a little bit of wrinkle. I'll mention. I think if you pay for premium, I think, and God, I can't believe it. It is true. But as far as I know, authors still need a pro license. But usually that's okay because authors are very few. Usually 10 authors can support a group of thousands generally. Anyway.
How does Synapse fit into that? It seems like there's a $300 a month license for Synapse, and Power BI is integrated into Synapse.
I've never heard of that tool. Is that by Power BI? Oh, is that by Microsoft?
It is. It's fairly new. It sits on the Azure cloud. But Power BI is supposed to be integrated directly into it. My understanding is the 300 a month is for like a base package and base capacity. But my understanding is you get those view-only users and you don't pay anything else for them, similar to premium.
Oh, wow.
We're looking at productizing it. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but you can actually take it and instead of if you're a third-party developer, you can actually then sell instances of it essentially to other people. The code is hidden, so they can't get in and create and do charts, but they can view stuff
on Azure Synapse, huh?
And Synapse has the ETL tools and all these other things to pull stuff in.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Microsoft is a big company, and I don't know the history of Synapse. It came in through acquisition or came in through like a, internal project. But sometimes they do end up with overlap amongst their projects. And a company of this size is not unusual. I mean, just on the face of it, just reading kind of the headline, analytics.
So it's using Power BI as the analytics, but my understanding is it's built directly into that Azure solution.
Yeah,
so
got it. Makes
but it's got all kinds of tools for you to do really neat stuff.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. So if I read it this way, so Azure Synapse is Azure SQL Data Warehouse, right? So they're saying, oh, it's SQL Data Warehouse Evolve, whatever, VP 2.0. I mean, I understand what a data warehouse is, and maybe this is the new cool way to do data warehouse, but then seems like they did the right thing and they didn't reinvent the wheel. It's like, hey, we can build a data warehouse, but if somebody needs analytics, we already have Power BI, so it's going to build. I don't think this is that much different than basically Microsoft Dynamics. It's going to sound weird, but again, Dynamics focuses on something and gives the solution for that. Its focus is CRM, right? But then it says, man, I mean, obviously people who are doing CRM are going to need analytics too, but we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We'll just use Power BI for that. So in Dynamics, my understanding is that a lot of the reporting is kind of driven by Power BI embedded. So Synapse is doing the same thing. It's like, we're going to serve this market. Oh, they need reporting. Yeah, we're going to add in Power BI for that. So I generally tend to work more with kind of the business users, not IT and so forth. So for me, I see things differently. For me, I generally see things as like, are you a data source for me or not? And for me, if I walk into an organization, they're using Synapse, and I'm like, oh, okay, can I connect Power BI and pull data in, or do a direct query or live connection or something? Then that's it. That's all I care about. It could be Synapse, it could be Voodoo Majoo, right? I mean, I don't really care. As long as Power BI can connect to it, I'm like, king of my domain, because again, I mean, I'm focused on kind of empowering the business user and give them what they need. So I have a bit of a one-dimensional view. But by the way, a little bit on the side note, so I was talking to members kind of in a Pro Plus group, and some of them echoed this thought where they're seeing this trend, which we think is a huge opportunity, where basically there are a lot of software as a service companies, right? I mean, Salesforce is one, but a lot of small companies as well. And especially companies who provide custom solution. Like I know there's a company which does kind of CRM or that kind of system, but for hairstylists, right? So again, I mean, there are a lot of these niche players. There are companies which do it just for car rental agencies. So they're software as a service, so they've taken that step. Obviously, not too long ago, that wasn't possible in a lot of these industries. And you had to, get a server and all that stuff.
So Azure actually gives you that capability through Azure Resource Management to essentially develop a software as a service product, which is what I'm focused on doing right now.
Yeah, but what we're seeing is that, cool, so you're in a good path there, but what we're seeing is that a lot of these players already exist, but the reporting absolutely sucks, because that's not their focus, right? I mean, they're focused on letting a car rental agencies run their system, which it does, but then the reporting is, it was kind of an afterthought. And so what some of the Pro Plus members are doing is they're engaging with these companies and say, hey, you already have a good product, but we're going to, kind of add Power BI to the mix as kind of a reporting thing embedded inside, which is going to make your product shine. So now your customer can not only use your product, but have awesome reporting and insight available to you, which is going to make your product, obviously, a lot more valuable. So we're seeing that trend, definitely.
And that's what I'm doing, actually productizing the Power BI side of it.
Yeah,
as a
nice.
software as a service. And actually, just a kudos out to you. Part of the pro group, but I have one of those pro engagements. And we're getting ready to demonstrate what we did with it.
Great.
Either next week or the following week. And the guy that you guys recommended for me to use was awesome.
Oh, great, terrific. And hey, we love folks. For folks on YouTube, you probably heard me talk about this in the dashboard makeover, where I say that in this day and age, the way to succeed is not just do good work, but tell great stories. And we have a monthly platform. So Dan, we do this dashboard showcase and makeover thing, and we would love to have you. And again, we run it every month, so join it whenever you're ready. And
We're
just
already signed up for it. It's
showcase
part of the I forgot what the program's called, where a pro comes in and helps you for 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a real Power BI project. Great.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
we just submitted the stuff yesterday or the day before, so we're gonna walk through it. I don't know, next week or the following week, whenever you guys
How
get.
exciting. Okay, I'm gonna look forward
Very
to that.
excited about it.
That's great. That's great.
We did some really cool stuff. I think people will be like, again, it's not so much just a look at the dashboard; it's the underlying what I call the Power BI
Yeah.
separation of design, development, and report creation.
Yeah.
I think we kind of took that to another level for this product, so it's going to be
Great.
fun to showcase.
All right, I'm excited. That's great. Thanks, man. All right, I'm gonna check in with the YouTube crowd. How do I create a page drill through automate reports in Power BI? What is it? What else is going on? A simple way. Ooh, Greg is saying, be careful with Synapse. Turned in December of last year and accidentally racked up a 4,000 bill. Turned it on. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That's a risk with these cloud services. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're still trying to figure out is what's the real cost.
All right.
Because it's the licensing is complicated.
Okay. So, Arabinda, I didn't find your question, mate. So I gotta respect the folks who pre-submitted. And again, if you can help me find the pre-submitted question. So if you're new to this, I mean, if you go to talkpowerbi.com, we have this whole process where people pre-submit questions, and generally, well, yeah, that does take priority. So if you did this, then help me find your question. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is check in with our friend Alejandro. And Alejandro, if you're on, I would like to invite you on the phone bridge so we can try to work through your problem. So, yeah, the price index one. So, Arabinda, if you're on. And so, Arabinda, again, I mean, we try to focus on the pre-submitted questions first. And I'm not hearing any other shout outs from anybody else. So after that, we can take your question. But Alejandro, if you're on, I know there's a lag, so I don't know how to fill the time. Oh yeah, he's on. Okay, cool. So Alejandro, let me send the link to you. And folks, I mean, you know, I'm gonna have to post it on here, but I would say, if you're not Alejandro, don't click on that link, right? I mean, you know, it's gonna be an honor system, right? So, God. So of course, so this is the special pass that our students use to dial in. By the way, guys, I'll say that so Marianne and I have been talking about this, and just doing this thing, this COVID-19 biz help thing, has been really inspiring. I mean, before this, I was finding myself kind of stuck in whatever's going on in the world and kind of feeling helpless. But now that I'm like, oh, I know exactly how I can help and make impact, just mentally and emotionally, it's been really powerful. Okay. All right, Alejandro, let's see if you can try that link. and the join. And yeah, so that's the link for the students. So the folks who kind of hang out, they're with me on the call at the beginning, and they stay for as long as they want. Okay, but I'm gonna make sure that I have. So what I'm gonna do while we're waiting is see if I can load this data into Power BI. Power BI. What is this? Oh, this was for. This was our first question. And stay for as long as Alejandro, sounds like you're on. Can you hear me? It seems we can hear you.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, awesome. And you're seeing my screen on Zoom. If you're on YouTube, you can drop off there, pause, stop, whatever you need to do. All right. But on Zoom, you should be able to see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see it on Zoom.
Okay, awesome. Let's. Okay, that's all good. All right, so let's see. Just give me a moment. Oh God, how do I? Oh, it's transform data. I'm still not used to the.
You were asking why I had two chain tables, which are the same, and the reason is because one is not connected, or it has an inactive relationship. That way, I can use and it's actually a copy, and that second not connected to the transactions table. I use it to select which is my base chain. The reason I do this is this is a retail client, and they sell their product in different chain stores and all that. So what they want to see is how the price is in the different stores or the different chains stores. So I want to see so I have one table or one chart comparing the price across every week. So I have 100 for chain 1 and 120 for chain 2. So in my index price,
Actually, hold on. Yeah, I think that's a little bit too much for me, too fast. So let me. So I think I understand kind of the background a little bit. And what was the?
Yeah.
What was the first question that we took? That was Jason. Price index and JSON managed by exception. Okay, so I got the file, and what I'm gonna do here is grab this guy. Okay, so let me actually go back to the transform data. All right, so I think we have this set up. Let me go back to your Excel file. Okay, so I have different chains selling different stuff. Okay, so walk me through. Yeah, so let's try again. So price value, this one works, right? Sales amount by sales value.
I can show you the import version and the way that it works.
Yeah. Do you have it? Okay.
I can present.
Go ahead. Click the share screen button.
Yeah.
And go from there. Thank you. That would make it easier.
I had to put var to hide sensitive data. But let
Okay.
me
Hey, I just
show
want to
you.
make sure yeah, I mean, what you're
Yeah,
showing doesn't have any sensitive data, because even with the bar and stuff, sometimes, man, it's
yeah.
you can
I'm
miss
sorry.
those.
I just need to hide something else. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, mate, I do get nervous when people have real data, because sometimes, so you don't have to do it unless you're sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, okay, all right.
Just just as long as I hide this thing that I'm hiding right now, we are good. Okay, there you go.
All right. Okay.
So
So you're live on YouTube. So um
so the ones in the left are the actual price. So this is the average price per week.
are you pointing to it? Do you like move your mouse and oh yeah, yeah, okay, I can see your mouse.
Yeah.
So okay.
So here the each color line is
Yeah.
one chain, right? So
Yeah,
this is
got it.
this is the real price. So in the chart of the right,
So wait, so that one is the price value, which is sales amount by sales volume, right?
yeah,
That's what it is? Perfect. Okay,
yeah.
makes sense. Yep.
So what I want to see in the right
Mm-hmm.
is, and this is working because this is the imported version, but I cannot
Ah,
use
okay,
it
okay, got it.
due to my client requirements.
You set one as the base, and then you see, so you set the red one
Yeah,
as the base, and the
same.
green one, you can see that on the first week it was only slightly better, but on week 4 it was more 40% more than that baseline.
Yeah, and the red is flat because
Yeah.
is the
Oh god, this is so awesome. Okay, cool. All right.
and
So
it works perfectly with the import version
yeah,
because I can use a variable.
yeah,
But
got
when
it,
I
got it,
try to
got it,
do
got it.
that in the live version, I cannot use a variable. And if I get the price or the base price, what I'm calling,
Got it.
uh,
Okay.
I get infinite value for the other chains.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay, so hey, this may take me some time. All right, so and I don't know, folks who've seen me on YouTube. I think I'm a great example of that anybody can learn DAX, because I don't know how the other folks operate. A lot of people teach DAX and so forth, and maybe they solve something in strokes of brilliance. Like they look at it, oh yeah, of course I got what it is. And for me, it's very step by step, very methodical, and I break things down. So I think that's my genius. If anything, I can take a complex problem and usually break it down in really small steps, which I can understand, and that makes it work. So I may go slow. All right. Okay, got it. So I think a price value I kind of get. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that. Enable editing, and I'm going to paste that visual as well to kind of ground me. But yeah, that picture really helps. So you base one that this is my kind of index. And by the way, the one that you're using as the base, is that is that gonna be selected by the user? Can it change, or how do you set?
Yes,
Okay, so they can choose which one they want to use as the base. Okay.
yes, because in the real case, this is not just three stores. It's like
Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Makes
well,
sense.
they
Yeah.
can have as 20 or just a couple, or they can select
Yeah.
as many
Got
as
it.
they want, and there are like 20 different chains.
Okay, folks. So cool. So we have a change. So I think your approach of having two tables is spot on. So good work there. I mean, clearly you're not a novice in Power BI, because a beginner wouldn't know. So good work there. So let's come into here, and was this sales? Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna do some quick measures. So we're gonna do sales amount, sales volume. So again, folks, you're just gonna see me kind of go through the baby steps. Where am I, by the way? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. Change to share, and you can watch my expressions on the side. Okay, so baby steps. So let's first do sales amount equals sum sales amount. Sales maybe total sales amount. Now we don't mess it up. Total sales amount. Okay, cool. Oh, missed a bracket. Okay, and let's see if these got connected. So chains, sales, and this one I'm gonna maybe I can delete it. Okay, got it. And we come over here. I did want to do one other thing. Chains. I'll say index. Index. So usually when I do a copy, so speaking to the YouTube crowd, and sometimes I often end up with a copy of my calendar table. So like order calendar date, ship calendar date, something like that. The rule is that the column names, they have to be different. They should be different. Best practice. Because otherwise you may drag year from one table to the other, and you may not know if in both tables they're called year. So that's what I did. It's a copy of this table, but I kind of changed the name so that I can know exactly in the reporting layer which one I'm using. So here we got this. So total sales amount, cool, and let's do sales volume. Actually, I wonder, maybe I'll just solve it with the sales amount. Keeps things simpler. But if you can solve it for this, we can solve it for price value, hopefully. Okay, let's give me here base price, so selected value has, okay, filter chain. So that one is the base value. You can't use variable. But what if we just use another measure? So let's add the. So folks, again, I'm gonna recap what we're trying to do. A little bit for me than anybody else, is that different stores have different sales. Let's just go with sales, although Alejandro is looking at price value, but frankly it doesn't matter. Imagine there's some measure, and that's generally the beauty of measures, that once you solve something, even if it's somewhat complicated, like new customers, returning customers, lost customers, and you may spend some time writing it, but then you can forget about what's inside there and just use it as a Lego block. And you've heard me talk about that too. So in this case, it's price value, but I've simplified that in my side and say, yep, some measure, right? And it could be sales amount, it could be something else, which varies by store. And we want to do is select one as the index and then see how the others compare to it. So yeah, interesting scenario, legitimate business scenario. You know what? This definitely deserves our gold star. So let's go get that. So the gold star gets to, it has to be a real business scenario, and it should be straightforward, and once Alejandro shared his screen, I got the question right away. Reading it was harder work. So it seems kind of straightforward. I was like, yeah, this is what I need to do. But there's a little bit of nuance to that. So I think that's this definitely qualifies. Oh, dang it. I forgot my timestamps. 11, I don't know, 15. Okay, so let's come in here. So I'm gonna bring in my chain index. So we'll have this, and I'm gonna say total sales amount. I'm gonna do a new measure just to see the chain index thing, and it's probably not needed at all, but I just want to see it. So calculate, and I'm not going to use this because I already have a measure defined for this. So folks, yeah, I mean, that is also best practice. Once you have something defined, you should just reuse it, even if it's something simple as sum. So calculate this, but I'm going to use the other relationship, and I'm going to say sales chain key is connected to chain index, chain key index. And here I want to grab the other table, this guy, so notice that the first measure returns basically a nonsensical number because that relationship is not active. But if I use the other measure that I just wrote, then I'm expecting, yeah, so it makes sense. Okay, cool. So I'll have this to the side, and I would probably, I may go back and color it different as well. Actually, let's see if I can quickly do that. Style, default, minimal. Okay, so let's keep that there. And now we're going to bring in the chain name, index, slicer, and we're going to use that as base. Oh boy, yeah, we might. I think price value. Let's do the price value because I think you're getting stuck with the infinite or something there. Index price value. Okay. All right, folks. Let's try that. Volume. Let's put that there. And price value, divide this by that. So we'll say price value equals, and again reuse measures. So you have total sales volume divided by, we'll probably use the divide function. Total sales volume, total I think I messed up. Amount divided by volume. Amount volume. Okay. Okay, so let's add that one. Price value. Okay, what do we have? All right, so Do we need the calendar table? Might. Okay, so now if we select a chain, so we select a base chain, total sales volume. Let's do versions of this guy. Volume. Total sales volume. And we'll do one more. And we'll say price index, price value. So I'm just creating versions of the chain index one. And folks, frankly, I'm not even trying to solve the problem right now. I'm just lining up kind of my Lego block measures. Okay, so let's do this guy. And so we have total sales amount for that chain index, total sales volume, and price volume for that. Okay, so total sales amount, and price value. So again, this side of the table is driven by this one, and the other side of the table, this guy, is driven by this table. And the only difference is that this has an inactive relationship, so to activate that, I had to use relationship. So, okay, so I got that. And this one I'm thinking, do I need, you know what, let me just bring in the calendar table and we'll go from there. So calendar.
In the sample data, just to not needing the calendar table, which I always use, but in this example, I did 2 values per week, and I added like 8 weeks data or something like that.
Okay. It is going to recreate the scenario that you have, right? Where division by 0 or something. Okay. Oh, advanced editor. Oh. Done. All right, folks. So again, I'm going to go back. So tell me on that graph. I mean, you have it working. So what part wasn't working? Like, I mean, clearly this graph is working.
This one works because I'm using import. In this example, when I started building the source, it was not completed, so I was using an import version of the real version.
Got it.
But they just released the final version, and it's so big that it cannot be imported.
How big is it?
Like,
just curious.
I think
number of rows wise.
I think today number of rows it was like 30,000 millions. And it's growing every day with a bunch of data.
Yeah. Okay, so we have this, and so now if we say maybe we focus on just chain 1, 2, 3. Oh. So 1, 2, 3, and we go 1, 2, 3. So now if we take this guy, and let's change it to a line chart. Oop, that worked? Nope, that didn't work. And in here, oh, actually, I just wanted to see what kind of dates do we have. Looks like weekly data, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And can we do it by date? Okay. So we got that. And then let's so folks, I almost never pretty much when I build measures, I'm building in them in tables. And I still sometimes use the word pivot tables because that's how I started writing DAX in Power Pivot. And there are 3 kinds of pivot tables or tables that I use. One is called what I call the working pivot. All right, working pivot table, working table. And the other is the reporting pivot or reporting table. And the other one is the last one is the debug table. And usually when I'm writing a measure, I'm going to be in what I call a working pivot. And it has nothing to do with how the data is going to be presented. I couldn't care less how the data is going to be presented. Because again, measures have the magic of define once, use everywhere. Once I define the measure, I don't really care how that's displayed. I mean, that the user can decide that. But and how it's displayed has little to do with how I'm going to write the measure. So in a working table or working pivot table, once I've done that, when I've written the measure out, then I'll say, oh, okay, now let me see how I need to display it. And then I'll, do whatever is needed there. And if I get in trouble, if my measure isn't working, then sometimes I create a separate table or pivot table in Excel. And where I go into debug mode, and those tables are different. For one, generally they are really filtered down. I love when I'm struggling with something and measure is not working, I love filtering down the data set so that it's just a handful of rows. I love getting things that I can count on my fingers, right? So I'll use that to debug, right? So this is kind of a little bit of a reporting thing, but my working table is here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of focus on that one. And I'm going to minimize this one for now and keep this around. But I'm going to make this one bigger and go from there. And folks, the standard disclaimer, you've seen me do this. Sometimes I'm not able to solve it, but I do think out loud, now almost compulsively. Maybe even by myself, I don't know. And because I've been told that people found it helpful, even when I was not able to solve it. But, I'm so far I'm feeling good about this one. But I'm going to go through my process. And again, folks, I mean, I don't know. Are there smart folks who would get it right away and oh yeah, this is what you need to do? I'm not one of them. So yeah, it's you're gonna see the slow measured approach. But hey, we all know who won the race between the hare and the tortoise, right? So okay, yeah, man. I mean, slow and steady. So far, I haven't met a Power BI problem I haven't been able to solve. The most complicated one took me a month. It was insane. In fact, it was ahead of its times. We solved it and then nobody cared. Like the person, my client, obviously he wanted me to solve it, but then we went out and presented it, but they were not ready. It was so advanced, and of course my client, he was one of those guys who could see kind of far into the future. Like, oh yeah, we need this, but nobody else saw it. Like, why are we doing that? And I'm like, wait, so yeah, we couldn't Anyway, that was a month of in my time. Okay, cool. So we are here, and I think I made it a little too big. So now I need the base price. So again, I mean, I don't care about the visual. I couldn't care less. And I just want to, so, and another thing you've heard me talk about this, human learning comes before machine learning, right? So what does a human need to solve, to find that percentage? I need that base price here. So let's see. Oh, okay. So I think I'm now finally, after all this time, I'm getting close to the crux of the problem. So I see where selected value would come into play. So you can't use selected value. Okay. And I think you had a version where you're using has one value.
Yeah.
If has one value. So if it is selected, but you have trouble with that. Okay. So let's just try it with the has one value. So basically, to compare each of these prices with the index, I need to figure out that what is the value for the index one over here. Let me just write the measure, and then I'll see if it needs to explain. So modeling and new measure.
And I think that my biggest issue is that I cannot use a variable either.
Yeah, but frankly, variables, you can always, almost always, I would say 99% of the case, work around variables because variables are a new feature. When I started using DAX, there was no variable and we still got everything done. The way we did it was what I call Lego blocks. I would build these things in these small steps. So that's what I'm going to use since we can't use variables. So I'm just going to do it in small steps. And I'll say, so a base price value. And let's just say if has one value and chain index chain key, if that has one value, then give me the price value for chain index, otherwise nothing. Let's try that. And we're gonna put this in this one. Oh, that's not what I expected. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. Base. Okay, cool. So right now, nothing is selected. So let's try to select one of them. Chain one. Ah, interesting. So I expected it to just show the same value here. It's not. That's okay. You might need a all filter. So sometimes, depends on what you're doing, folks. I mean, I'm in a rush and I have a feeling like, oh, if I can do all, then that solves it. But sometimes, if you can, so often I play this game, all right? So where I write a measure, and before I hit enter or add it to it, I go with a hypothesis. And sorry I didn't share it out loud, but my hypothesis was that it's going to show the same number, 365 here and here. And then if it works, then cool, move on. If it doesn't work, and again, if you're in a hurry, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I know how to solve it. But then I sometimes pause, and I say, why it didn't work, right? So let me see. So price, yeah, why didn't it work? So we're not going to go too much into it, but of course, the way to debug things is the ICANN approach. ICANN is an acronym, which I teach inside my course. I also teach it on the YouTube, at least a little bit of that. And ICANN stands for, and again, all DAX works the same way. It has just four simple steps: incoming filter context, then calculate does its magic. Actually, it's calculate and friends. Calculate does its magic. A is you apply relationships, and N is you do the numbers. So here, I think that incoming filter context is the one that's kind of affecting it. So this table is already filtered by chain 2. So I think I need to do all on that. So let's actually, filter chain name, base price. That's interesting. Come on. So I'm going to say for here, base price value, can we say calculate this, but I don't care about what is in my chain this table. I don't care. I only care about the chain index. So again, my hypothesis now is that now it's going to work 336, 336. If it doesn't, oh boy, thank God. Okay. Okay, so we got that, and might as well do one decimal place here. So you got the base, and then we'll calculate the percentage difference, and then just see how it works.
I think that you cracked it already.
All right. Yeah. So again, variables are no big deal because we survived without variables for a long, long time, which is just we did things in Lego blocks. We built step by small step. So cool. So I think they got it. So let me just walk people through this so they can see the kind of final result. And hopefully I don't run into any more roadblocks. But so now, of course, it's easy, like percentage difference from base. And we'll say divide just this by that. So divide what is my price value divided by price value for chain index. Oh, no, sorry, not this, the base that we just calculated. So base price value, and again I have them next to each other in the table. So again, imagine if this was Excel, you would just, right, I mean, and you had these two numbers and you would say, oh yeah, you know, divide this by this, and that's it, right? So yeah. By the way, guys, sometimes I do connect Excel to oh, actually I think it's slightly different the way you defined it.
Yeah, I think you just need to add a -1.
Zero base, right? Yeah. Can I do -1?
At the
I'm afraid
end,
of doing -1. Let's just leave it for now, and
yeah,
it'll just be shifted, right? So 100% will be kind of your zero line.
Yeah.
Percentage. Okay, so we have this, and now. So again, guys, I talked about the three kind of tables. So this one was my working pivot. And you can see what a working pivot looks like. And again, before variables, they were Lego blocks. And I would always solve something step by step by small step, right? So again, even this sum of sales amount, I would write that first. And of course, you saw how I wrote. I mean, frankly, before even I was thinking about the problem, I was write what I call these base measures. Often these base measures, not often, always, they're just sum and count rows, and I would almost always have it, even if in some cases you wouldn't never end up showing it. These were rare, but you know, often these are really valuable, and this is what would let you build the first dashboard. So I would start off with these base measures and then just go step by step. So that's my working table, and I would just go kind of step by step. So okay, solve this, solve this, solve this, and of course you can see where you kind of turn the corner, right? I mean, once I had it nailed, I knew that this one was easy because this one was just this divided by that. So let me actually go back to that. Divide this by this. So let me, and once I've solved it, then generally measures have the magic of define once, use everywhere. So now you got a measure. Now you can slice and dice it any which way you want. So I'm going to try that now and see how it works. All right, so yeah, I mean, I can see, oh boy, the scale is mighty off, but yeah, so this is a flat line, the base itself, chain 1 is the base, and then it's showing that the other chains were slightly lower initially for the first week, which I can see here. The blue chain is slightly higher, and then it kind of zigs and zags after that. Cool. So so I'm not sure in your data set, do we have the scenario where the division by zero thing that you were running into?
Yep. Yeah, I did. That's why I was having
Cool.
the infinite value when I was adding the division by zero. But
Yeah.
I think that that looks of if you see your values, is different what you have in the table. I see here 100%,
Yeah, but the table
509.
isn't by month. So you have to look at this guy.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's a good point. So yeah, this is really good. So often I would spot check something. So what I'm gonna do is mm, maybe remove that. But you know what? Let's just so I'll get rid of my working thing, but I'll come back to this guy and change this to, let's try a table. Oops. Or maybe a matrix table. Oops. Let's try a matrix. Okay. And then, oh boy. Hey, give me a quick second. I'm gonna hook up Excel to this model. Excel, baby, where are you? You're here. Might as well hook up Alejandro's one. In data. Okay, and we're gonna say 50770. Okay, so we're gonna have date, and we're gonna have chain name, and we're gonna do sales. Oh, sales is right there. Price value. Okay, so we got that. And we can just filter focus on these guys. Filter only keep these. And if we're saying that the base, and let's do the other chart. Man, I hope I did it right. So which is percentage difference. So percentage difference from base. Huh. Oh wait, what did I? Why didn't that work? Oh, because it's not selected. Oh, of course. So let's do chains index, and I'm going to add it as slicer and connect it to both pivot tables. And I'm going to select our chain 1 as the index. Cool. So if chain 1 is the index, and so the way I was doing percentage was oh god, I forgot now. Percentage, yeah, I think there is something off here. This
yeah,
isn't right. So it
I
should
think it's
be.
probably right because I added random data and
No, but let me just kind of fix it, because that's not really percentage difference. So let's try divide this minus base, right? I think this should be the right formula. Boy, that didn't seem to change much. Huh.
no, it was right.
So price value minus gross.
I don't want to see the price versus it. I want to see how is the price compared to the original uh,
Yeah.
base. So
Okay, but
if I have 100 and 200, for
yeah,
example.
I think it was looking right now. So yeah, zero base, that makes more sense. So so I mean, this makes it well, so let's say 80. So let's do base. Yeah, let's do this one. So chain 2 is gonna be is gonna be C3. Oh God. C3 minus B3 $B3 divided by C3 divided by B3. There we go. All right. Okay, cool. Right. So again, the way I'm doing it in Excel is the same formula, right? So chain two, and frankly, in my mind, I'm thinking sales actual versus budget. Like I would do actual minus budget divided by budget. So that's what this one is. Like this is the current value. This is the base. So I subtract that divided by that, and I can see already that these two kind of match. And of course, I can expand that formula and check that these match exactly. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it looked kind of off and weird, maybe because of sample data, but yeah. And hey, folks, you learned how I sometimes validate things. I pop out in Excel. Frankly, I mean, when I'm doing stuff like this, I just feel more at home because I think there's nothing in the world like an Excel pivot table. It just makes you fly really fast, and you can. Oftentimes you can, if you're doing like year to date, you can just drag and select, and you can look at the sum in the corner. So it makes, and you can do formulas like this to kind of quickly validate stuff. Awesome, mate. So yeah, you can. I'm so glad we were able to help you with this. Definitely try it out with the direct connection,
Yeah.
live
Well,
connection.
thank you.
But hopefully, yeah, you will not run into any more issues there.
Yeah. It looks like it will.
Cool. All right. So yeah,
Thank
you
you.
can. Do you need this file? I mean, if you need, I can send you a link right now, or you can go back and also get it from learnpowerbi.com/download. But you would have
Yeah.
to
If you.
jump through a few hoops. It
Yeah. If
asked
you
me,
can send it to me, it would be great.
Awesome. So let's do that. Yeah.
I'll send it in the private chat here.
Yep. So share. And
Or well, I give you my Gmail account, but I can give you a Microsoft account, so you can
oh
send
no,
me
I'll
the.
send you a link right here. Oh yeah, I see you send that too. Okay, so that you have the link. Open it, see if it works. I'm gonna close this file out. How are we doing on time? All right, finally you broke the 3-hour mark. That's awesome. The longest, we're not even close to the longest, because there was a time when I used to do what we call Talk Power BI Marathon, where I would be here all day, well, nearly all day. So those were 8+ hours. I frankly, I'm not sure I'm ready to go back to that. So folks, again, to kind of recap some of this is, so the way we're running it, yeah, is Talk Power BI. If you just go to talkpowerbi.com, then it gives you information on pre-submitting your questions. And once you pre-submit, students get their own special link, and they get kind of flagged in there. You can also click on this board here, and that's going to take you to where you can see all the questions that were submitted, and kind of keep track there. Oh, all right. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and something that we're working on for the next round. We weren't able to pull it off this time, and again, I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm going to check with our Pro Plus members, but so Pro Plus is the program that we run, and you can find more information in the training Pro Plus as well, the last one here. Yeah, basically it's for people who are on the path to become or to grow their Power BI consulting business. And can you kind of see the goal that we have? All of these people, if you want to make an impact, do what you love, and yeah, I mean, be an independent consultant and live in your own terms, right? So that's what this group is about. And yeah, you can also see them kind of in the About Us page. So I haven't had a chance to talk with them. They are understandably, I didn't want to kind of take the focus away. They've been working on the real Power BI presentation, which I also mentioned, which is coming next week and the week after that. These are going to be pretty awesome. But after that, maybe I'll check with them and say, hey, what about this idea that I know that I can't get to a lot of questions that are submitted. So again, let's check the numbers so far. And we have, boy, I answered 5 today. I think I maybe this one's 5, 6, maybe 7, 8. Actually, I didn't answer this one to 5, 6, 7, but there are 37 questions more on this. So maybe they can selectively. So guys, again, it's going to be selective. We can't promise that somebody's going to get back to you, but even if they can make a dent, even if they can pick up 3 to 5 questions, that'll be 3 to 5 more questions than I was able to answer, right? So that's my thought, right? And again, it's going to depend on their generosity. I mean, these are pretty awesome folks, but of course, you know, I want to be respectful to that. So we'll see if they're interested in that. Then we'll try to set that up, see how that goes. And pretty much anything that I run is always a beta. It's a test. It's an experiment. We run it. And one of the things that I check to see that if you're going to keep running it is that did we have fun doing it, right? So I do these things because these are fun for me. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it, guys, you know, and that's the rule has worked well for me. So yeah, so if they try it out, if it's fun for them, then I assume they would keep doing it. Again, given the time constraints. If it's not fun, then we'll say, okay, well, we tried, right? But of course, if you are in a spot where like, no, Avi, I can't wait, man, and I can't wait for this call, and I can't wait for you to get this question, and I don't want to bother with anonymizing my data and how do I share it on a YouTube and live and all that stuff, then just reach out to us, hit contact me, and that's going to give you the option to reach out to us for paid Power BI consulting, and I'll be happy to connect you with somebody really amazing who can help you right away in a private call. Okay, so let's see. I think we've run through our list of folks. So if you, I don't think there's anybody left. If somehow magically you are here, maybe you'll join late and you pre-submitted a question, then I would like you to make a lot of noise, right? I mean, so if you're on the phone, then just speak up. Or if you're on YouTube, like, hey, Avi, like jump up and down, write in all caps. I don't know, the equivalent of jumping up and down. I was like, Avi, I pre-submitted a question, because we do give our love to that. But since that's out of the way, I would open to anybody on the phone as well. So folks on the phone, if you have any question, go ahead and ask. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a technical question. I love answering questions about career, in general about Power BI deployments, anything that's going on. Hey, heck, if you want to talk about kind of the current crisis and so forth, I would be happy to talk about that too. Although my last 2 videos have been about that. Last 2 videos besides the live. The first one was focused on, well, how I believe that, I really believe that this is a challenge as well as an opportunity, my friends. For one, opportunity to make a huge impact, right? And also go further on your Power BI journey. Because again, the way we serve others is by operating in our zone of genius. And if you're hanging out with me, I'm hoping that, I'm assuming that Power BI is at least some part of your zone of genius. And yeah, right. So those 2 videos, if you haven't watched them, then, watch these 2. So again, this one is kind of focused on what should businesses do. And this one is a little bit focused on what the individuals should do. I mean, the title it talks about consulting, but really, anyway, right? So you can check that. So on the phone, I didn't hear anything. So that means it's...
I've got a quick question.
I should pause for questions. Yes,
no, that's okay. So my question is relating to date tables.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, like, what the best approach would be because I tend to implement date tables through using DAX, so generate calendar auto. However, I've heard some people say, no, don't do it that way. Use, like the table that you've got, using M.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not sure what the best kind of trade-off between those 2 would be.
I'll say, so in some cases kind of close. I don't think it's close in this one. I think M hands down. So because, DAX, man, DAX, M is a totally different animal because M has two things going for it. And calendar tables get far more complex than you would ever imagine. And we do magic with the calendar table so of course this one is called the ultimate calendar table, and man, there's like stuff there which, if my old Excel self, the guy who, the old Avi who was steeped in Excel saw this, he would go like, whoa, this is crazy. For one, we do like offsets, which are magical, right? I mean, so we do offsets and stuff like that. And building some of those things, it's not easy. And I keep running into more and more scenarios. And calendar table is something which you would think, like, oh yeah, I build it once and it's done. I don't think it's ever done. It doesn't change that rapidly, but over time, as you work with an organization, inevitably, a month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, sometimes even a year later, they would come up with like, that could be an interesting thing to add in a calendar table. And some of those things are not easy. And so I love M because I can take something which is not easy, like an offset or a weak sequence number or something even more complicated, perhaps academic year, whatever, and I can break it down step by step and build it step by step. So I'll do a column one step, build it, then do the next step. And in the query editor, I can examine each step. I know exactly what's going on, and if there is some problem, I can fix that. So often, to build something, let's say current fiscal offset, I may add 4 or 5 columns to just get to that. So again, I use a Lego block simple approach. So I use 4 or 5 columns, but then the last part that I love about query editor is that once I have the result, then I can just delete these columns that are gone. You can never do that in DAX. The same way you couldn't do that in Excel, right? If you built a column which was dependent on columns 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 were just throwaway column, you didn't really need them. Well, I mean, DAX, best you can do is you can hide it, right? So there's so many advantages to this that I think this one is. So again, it lets you build step by step. So if it's something complicated, you can build step by step, and that makes it really easy for me. Rather than DAX, which you put in the code and poof, and you don't really understand kind of what's going on. And even when you build step by step, the interim steps, you can just come back and delete them. You don't have to load them in the final table. So does that kind of make sense? Hopefully.
Yeah, it does. It kind of future proofs your solution, right?
God, yeah, it's incredible. I would say once you get a taste of this, you'll never go back. And maybe we should do a simpler version of this table, because right now it's got so much. I don't think people should start here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that would be a good idea. I mean, for one, obviously fiscal stuff. I mean, you can stop here, right? I mean, you can delete all of the steps after this, and that could be a good starting point. And then add it as you need it. So that could be one way you do it instead of getting the whole thing, or you can still get the whole thing. Up to you. All right, cool. That was a good question. All right, so folks, if you have any questions on the phone, you know the drill. Yeah, just unmute and speak up. Let me check on my YouTube friends, and I think Arabindo. Sorry, mate. I mean, I had to kind of respect the process, so I know we were going back and forth. So Arabinda Biswal. So I think we've moved on from the pre-submitted questions. Let's see if somebody was jumping up and down. I don't see anything in all caps. So if you pre-submitted, put it in all caps and hey, Avi, I pre-submitted. So I'll kind of see it. So Arabinda, if you are there, then give us a holler, and we'll see if we can help you, because for the life of me, I could not find it in the pre-submitted question. So, okay, so let's see. Well, maybe I can take a shot at it, even if he's not there. Sorry, mate, if you missed out. Arabinda, so count if, yeah, count, let's see, DAX, count. How many count functions are there? So he's saying, I think there's count blank. Count blank cells. Yeah, there we go. Count blank. Sorry, maybe I should have read the question because this was, I think it was straightforward. So yeah, just use count blank. Okay, so let's see. All right, so folks, if you posted a question earlier, again, if you pre-submitted it, then put in all caps. I'll jump to it right away. Otherwise, I'll just read through the comments. If it was earlier, it's scrolled up, then I probably won't get it. So let's see. Arun is asking, I have one question. I wanted to display my sales amount target and trend in one card. In one card, use a multi-row card. I mean, card only takes one value. So yeah, I mean, Arun, he's saying any custom visual for that apart from the KPI indicator card with states. Yeah, I'm not that savvy on custom visual, so I'm not sure I can help you. I think you already kind of there. The KPI indicator has that, so I don't know. I mean, what are you trying to do that is not there in the options that you listed? Right, so I mean, I would have said amount target and trend. Yeah, so I think KPI indicator, I think that's the one that shows that's the first one that I would think of, which is which is this guy, right? So I think you already know that one. So tell me, like, why are you not happy with that one? Yeah, but sorry, I really wouldn't know. Again, I very rarely use custom visuals. I'm a plain vanilla guy. Actually, I really do like that flavored ice cream as well. But yeah, for me, I think visualization, I focus on operational reports, and I think operational reports for one should be simple, really easy to understand, and I think the best way to do that is not get too fancy. I do cards, I do multi-row cards, I do table matrix, which I all group into one. These are basically text-based, and then I do line chart, column charts, bar graph, right? So bar, column charts, line charts. That's it. I start there, and then based on what they're trying to do, then I'll go beyond that. But so yeah. So all right, cool. So mate, yeah, that's the best advice I can give. Slam. What is the best way to job in Power BI? Let's talk about that. I think there was another question. Get a job in Power BI if just starting out. Please talk about Power BI report service and publishing visuals. Can we share through email like Hotmail, Gmails? Ooh, tricky one. Can you show us how to add the year-to-date flags in the calendar table? Ooh, okay. Yeah, good question. And I think SA was talking to somebody else about the memory leads. Whoa, what is that? Okay, cool. So folks, let's see, and I'll just timestamp it as, I don't know, YouTube questions. YouTube miscellaneous questions. Okay, got that. And oh god, no, sorry. Okay, let's do this, guys. Okay, so maybe I started on this early, 12:20, let's say. So this one, well, I didn't really answer it, I mean, as such, but I gave my opinion. So Arun, again, for this one, tell me a bit more if you need more help. Okay, so we got this guy, right? So we got this one, I think. And then this one I'm going to save. Let's do this one next. So how to add the year-to-date flags? I'll say go to my ultimate calendar, which is available on my channel. And folks, the good stuff, thanks to Marianne for organizing it, is right up top. So learn Power BI, my best videos start here, and the ultimate calendar is right after the main tutorial, right? So so you have that. So ultimate calendar table, and then that's what I love about Power BI, especially the query editor, that it is self-documenting. So there was a time when I worked with Excel, and it used to take a week to refresh a monthly report, because I would say, ooh, copy data from here, put it in here, then do this, then do that. A lot of manual steps or stuff like that, or a spaghetti of things. Oh, this is connected to that. Even if it was automated through macros or data connections or whatever, it was still a spaghetti, and it was really complicated. And I'm a big user of OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, and I still take very detailed notes. So when I would have these processes, I would have very detailed notes about step by step of how to run the report. But even then I would get stuck. Like, how did I do it last month? Because again, things would slightly change. So basically there's the stuff of how to generate the report or how to clean the data. And then there is like documenting the steps. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody who kind of loves documenting their work. It's not easy. It's challenging. It's really challenging. For one, because stuff keeps changing all the time. So what I love about Query Editor is that it's self-documenting, right? It's self-documenting. So if you grab my Ultimate Calendar, I think there. Oh wait, I hope there's a year-to-date flag in there. Is there a year-to-date flag? Let's see. Do we have it? Oh, you know what? Maybe not in the. Hold on, guys. Let me pull up the latest version. And we go where? Oh yeah, there we go. And okay, get in there, guys. Ultimate Calendar. Okay, let's see. Ah, yes. Yeah, so I don't know if I have it in this version. '96. So yeah, as I said, it's kind of self-documenting. So I just clicked on that step, and it seems that's how I'm doing it. I would assume it's right. So cool. So I'm just gonna copy paste this in here, and it is a really powerful calendar table itself is, yeah, I mean, it's a gift that keeps on giving. I mean, there's so much you can kind of add in there. Okay, so by the way, you can also get this file from the same place, learnpowerbi.com/download. You can get this file as well. Okay, let's keep going. YouTube miscellaneous questions. PowerBI report service. Oh. So let's take this one because that's nice and easy, and then we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about job, career, and so forth. So here, Power BI report service. So I think if we're talking about the same thing, then report service is the on-prem option, on premise, right? So PowerBI.com is the cloud version. But if you like, you know what, I don't like cloud, I don't trust cloud, whatever, then you say, hey, I want to have it on premise, and then you're gonna go with the report server. I think that's what it's called, right? So that's gonna be on premise. Maybe you're talking about that, maybe you're not. Publishing visuals. Ooh, I'm not really sure what your question is about. Do you want to share like custom visual? But publishing visuals, do you mean just maybe just let me cut the chase. Can you share through email IDs? Yes, you can. You can share to Hotmail, Gmail. But there is you know what, I haven't actually tried it, but I'm told that you can do that. But what I also know is that you know, Hotmail, Gmail, they don't, it's not a full-fledged PowerBI.com account. So maybe the interface looks, actually the interface most likely looks different for them. Like maybe they would be able to see the report. But yeah, so again, I mean, you can't create a full-fledged PowerBI.com account. It has to be a work email address, and you know, yeah, so, but you can share it. So sorry, I haven't tried it. Maybe I should someday. If anybody else has tried it, and if this is not what your experience was, you say, no, Avi, I tried it and it didn't work, then let us know, because that would not be my understanding. Okay, cool. So hopefully, all right, folks. So let's end on a few of these kind of questions. And I'll take Slam's question, and I think somebody else had asked something else earlier. So 1233, Power BI job, career, interview. We'll all bunch it in. So I think Slam had this question, and I'm going to copy over what somebody else had asked. Shabana had asked this question earlier in the chat, and I parked it over there. I'm going to delete it from here because it wasn't actually a pre-submitted question. Okay, so what is the best way to get a job in Power BI if you're starting out in Power BI journey? So I'm gonna respond to this from the lens that I'm used to, but it is gonna apply. Sorry guys, I hit the mic. It is gonna apply to you regardless. So my lens is that. So again, for folks, I teach people Power BI, but since last year, this has been frankly my first love, if you will. Is this goal of taking a small group, so right now we have a group of 30 folks, and just taking them on what can be a really rewarding journey on this path of what we call the independent Power BI consultants, where again, I mean, we're all looking, so this whole group we're looking to make an impact, do what we love, right? Why not, right? So, you know, and then create a life by our own rules. So we're focused on that. That's the journey. And again, you can see some of them on the About Us page. So I'll respond from that lens, but it's going to apply to you whether you do want to become a Power BI consultant or do you want to just get a job, right? So here's what I tell them. The first thing that I tell them is that, ironically, that the name of the program is 6 Figures Power BI Consultant, but I say that nobody should have that goal. And yeah, sorry, I mean, we named the program and then I was like, oh, well, do we need to change the name? It's too much work. So, so no one should be a Power BI consultant. And again, if you have a full-time job, you can generalize. Anytime I say consultant, you can think in your mind, think professional, right? So So nobody, okay, very few people should be focused on becoming a Power BI professional. Because, man, focusing on technology, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Because the barrier to entry is really low. More and more people are going to get trained and smarter in Power BI, and you constantly have, and you know, so let's say you were the first mover, right? So maybe for now, and again, right, I mean, you're charging quite a bit. Again, as an employee or consultant, doesn't matter, right? But now, more and more people are flooding the market who are smarter than you and are willing to work for less. How do you compete with that? And man, so I'm 40 plus. As you get older, you get another challenge, man. There is age-based discrimination. I was lucky enough that I wasn't, I think, a target of that, right? But I know I was in meetings where we were looking to hire people, and there were some candidates who were older, and I saw how people reacted to that. They would say things like, "Oh, he had no energy," and I'm like, what is that based on, right? I mean, that's based on just these biases and prejudices that we have that we are often not even aware, right? So how do you compete with somebody who's you know, and again, right? I mean, maybe you don't have the problem, but who's willing to work longer hours, right? I mean, they're like, I'm starting out, and I can work longer, who's possibly even better trained because they know the latest and the greatest, whatever is going on. I mean, right? I mean, for example, I don't know Power Flow, Power Automate, that sort of stuff. Maybe they know all of it, right? So they're better trained and willing to work for less. So if you hitch your wagon to the technology horse, I think you're headed for disaster. Because this is just a one-way road. I mean, sooner or later, you're going to end up in a place where you're like, shoot. So I know when I was working at Microsoft, I was making reasonably good income. They're a really good employer. But I had this worry. It's like, oh, my God, if I ever get laid off, who would ever pay me this amount, right? So, I mean, there I had kind of stuck around and all that stuff. And I know a lot of people who are in the same boat, who are an employee, and they're like, man, I mean, here, I've been here 20 years or whatever, right? But, man, if they leave me off, I don't know if I can ever find somebody who will pay me this much because I would be competing with these people, right? So don't do this. Don't do this, right? So what do we do in the Pro Plus program? One of the things that I teach them, one of the first things that I teach them is that always be Power BI, combine it with a business skill. In fact, it should be the other way around. Lead with the business skill, but do Power BI. So, and this is also becomes good for people. So sometimes people who join this program, the Pro Plus one, they are like, and by the way, guys, so far we run this twice a year. If you're interested, go to the training Pro Plus and you can join the waitlist for the next round. So what we say is business plus Power BI. And so one advantage of that is that sometimes people who join this program, they feel like they're going to have to start from scratch, start from zero. They're like, oh, I've never done Power BI, I'm new to it, but I'm willing to struggle and work hard. That's, by the way, I'm not going to go into that, but that's one of my biggest pet peeves, this idea that we need to work hard to succeed. Complete BS. For one, because it freaking doesn't work. Just look around. Do you see that, oh, I worked harder, and I mean, have you seen examples of like, I know in my life there were a lot of people and I worked harder than them, but they were, their careers took off, mine didn't. It doesn't work, right? So anyway, we're gonna put that away for now. But yeah, so they're like, oh yeah, I'm new to Power BI, but I'm gonna start from zero and then just work really hard. Complete BS. So if you go with this approach, you don't have to start from zero. So what I say is, let's say if you're a salesperson, if you work with like in sales, right? Man, maybe you've already worked there 3 years or 5 years or 10 years or more. You have that knowledge and expertise. All you need to do is combine that with Power BI. And this works on two levels. One, now you're the best of the best of the best salespeople. You're the top 1%. Because most of the salespeople out there, they don't know Power BI. They don't know how to handle data. And again, data is power, guys, right? I mean, data, if you can leverage it right, you can make it powerful. If you're right, so now you can do that. So you can pretty much blow all of the salespeople that are out there out of the water. And again, with sales, you can substitute whatever your domain is, right? If you're in education, let that be your domain, right? So education plus Power BI, right? So business plus Power BI. So you can blow away any of those people out of the water because you know Power BI. And guys, there's a difference between knowing Power BI and knowing Power BI. Most of the people out there, they have no freaking clue what they're doing with Power BI. They think it's a PowerPoint, pretty visuals. It's not. It's what's under the model. And of course, anybody who's gone through my course knows that the real power is under the hood, right? So business plus Power BI. So again, no salesperson, ordinary salesperson can compete with you. You're going to blow them out of the water. And what about the techie Power BI folks who are willing to work longer, are better trained in Power BI, no more DAX functions, right? Man, they can't even touch you. They can't even touch you because business domain knowledge and experience, you can't just be fresh out of college and like, oh yeah, I've been in sales for 5 years. No, I mean, you only have that experience by being in that industry for 3, 5, 10 years, right? So that is over time. So really, you're invincible. You're unstoppable, and you can build a career which is rock solid. In fact, if you think about this, so again, you lead with business. And by leading with business, even if Power BI falls out of fashion, right? I mean, it's not fashionable anymore. You can just substitute it with whatever hot new cool is out there. Hey guys, learning new tools isn't the hard part on this journey. I mean, come on. I mean, right? I mean, so and that is why the people who know Power BI, who have technical Power BI skills, is going to keep growing. But if you build your life, your career, your business this way, consulting, whatever, your job, same thing, then it's going to be rock solid. So that's the way to approach it. That's the way to be super duper awesome in there. Not just for now, for the next year, but for your lifetime, right? Okay, so we'll stop there. And let me quickly recap some of the awesome stuff. So if you go to learnpowerbi.com, so folks, you know what? Let me start by saying join us next time for the Talk Power BI Q&A. Just go to talkpowerbi.com and you can pre-submit your question there. And you're supposed to be live on the call. Now, the one thing that we are working on is that can Pro Plus students, if they want, maybe they can selectively reach out to some of the questions that we didn't get to. So we're going to try that next time, see how that works. And that's going to mean that, I don't know, I mean, even if you were not able to join the call, even if you were, I wasn't able to get to your question, there's some chance that maybe, one of our Pro Plus members will be able to help you out. Now, of course, if you don't want any of that, if you're like, nope, Avi, I want somebody to help me right now on a private call, then hit contact me and, contact us for paid Power BI consulting. Go that route. What else? So that's Talk Power BI. And again, we'll do it every month. Another feature that we do, you're probably familiar, is Dashboard Makeover. That's pretty exciting. We did that last week. That's another feature we do once every month. And for the next 2 Fridays, we do have something really special going on, guys, and you don't want to miss it because you're gonna, I think I started with the line that everyone you meet has something to teach you, and these folks have something really amazing to teach you. So these are members of our Pro Plus group, and they have been on this adventure for the past month or so, where they've been working with what we call the real Power BI project, with real businesses, real projects, and it's just time limited. It's 4 to 6 weeks, and now we're at the end of that, and they're ready to present this story. And what you're going to hear is, and that's what I'm telling all of our Pro Plus members, is that come in with the unfiltered version, right? So it doesn't have, actually, I would prefer that if it's not buttoned down, because that's what, when you go to conferences, that's when you hear, you see everything kind of done and pretty. And no, I would like it, frankly, if these guys kind of shared the hard parts. I'm like, we ran into this challenge and so forth. So anyway, they're going to share their journey. And I think I know in the past presentations, I've always picked up things. I've always like learned new stuff, new ways to look at things and all that sort of stuff. Certainly being inspired by it. So that's going to be for the next 2 Fridays. And you're also going to be part in voting for the winners. So we have $1,000 cash prizes, and we want to hear from you. We want you to select the winners for us. So that's happening next 2 Fridays. Some of the other things that we have going on are, if you go COVID-19 Business Help, and well, again, idea is simple. I was just tired of feeling helpless, thinking that, oh, I'm not a doctor or a nurse, so I can't make a difference. Well, I can by focusing on my own zone of genius. And the good thing is that others have partnered with me. So we're excited to have, so there are a few folks here. We may be adding more. But yeah, we're here to help. We're here to help. And again, the goal is not just to survive, but to thrive once we emerge from this crisis, right? So what if you can put those things in place? Use this time. If this is kind of a downtime and things are not as active, use this time to invest in your business and so forth. So again, I mean, this is just us kind of trying to help. Cool. Last one. If you're interested in the Learn Power BI course, go sign up for the wait list, and that way you'll be notified as soon as we open up the program there. And in training, you can also find information about our Pro Plus program, which we run twice a year, which is your journey to become a Power BI consultant. All right, folks. So again, thank you so much. This as I said, I mean, my decision point for whether I continue to do something or not is simple. It's like, did I have fun or not? And I definitely had fun today answering your questions. We had one gold star question from Alejandro as well. It was good to have him join on the call. And yeah, we'll just do it again next month. But again, keep an eye out for all the other exciting events. I'll see you next time. Power on, my friends.